Chapter 32-24. 1 second to remember love on *U reading /book wonderful, no pop-up window free reading. What's going on with this ring? Knight Sorrow took the cage and ring that had been refined into Dharma artifacts, and then checked the items in the ring. He found that there were many resources inside. At this moment, he snorted coldly. Lord Messenger, this is a gift from the Tianshao territory to you. The Tianshao Sacred Lord was actually extremely angry after being reprimanded. However, he was very shrewd and suppressed his emotions as he asked back. My god race doesn't lack resources at all. What's the use of giving me these? Don't forget how you guys advanced. Knight Sorrow said with a disdainful smile on his face, appearing extremely arrogant. Then, without giving the Tianshao Sacred Lord a chance to speak, he looked at the Blood School Scythe and said, Blood School Scythe, check the cultivators in the cage. See if you've seen them before. Yes, Captain. Blood School Scythe took the cage that had been refined into a Dharma artifact, checked it, and said loudly, Captain. There's not a single female cultivator in the cage. That's not right. Logically speaking, the male cultivators who ambushed us are all here. How can there be no female cultivators? Tianshao Sacred Lord, what's going on? Hearing this, Knight Sorrow looked at the Tianshao Sacred Lord and asked. In fact, he suddenly thought of Blood School Scythe's words. They deliberately did not want resources and wanted female cultivators, making the Tianshao Sacred Lord feel that they had come to cause trouble today just to get a few female cultivators. This was also in line with the character of the heaven-deceiving alien race. So you're not here to find the murderer, but to take the opportunity to blackmail female cultivators and prepare to molest them. A bunch of beasts. Knight Sorrow and Blood School Scythe's behavior made the Tianshao Sacred Lord feel that he had grasped the main point. He secretly despised them in his heart and slapped his forehead. Lord Messenger, it's my negligence. I'll order someone to bring the female cultivators who assassinated you here. Go. Knight Sorrow snorted coldly. Not long after, the Tianshao Sacred Lord appeared again with a cage containing more than 10 female cultivators. After taking over the cage to investigate, Knight Sorrow discovered that these female cultivators were all female disciples of Heavenly Owl territory. He thought to himself, this Heavenly Owl Holy Lord is really shameless. In order to protect himself, he even sent out the female disciples of his territory. After that, he checked the cage again and found the first Vice City Lord of the God Realm's territory and Supreme Ancestor Phoenix inside. There were also 5 or 6 other supreme martial artists. Knight Sorrow immediately transmitted his voice, Senior Ancestor Phoenix, how many people were captured in the God world? Are they all in Tianshao territory? Knight Sorrow. You're back. The eyes of Supreme Ancestor Phoenix, who was already extremely weak, instantly lit up when she realized that it was Yi Shang who had sent the voice transmission. It's me. I'm here to save you. Ancestor Phoenix, it's like this. Hurry up and answer my question. Time was of the essence. Knight Sorrow could only make the long story short and let Supreme Ancestor Phoenix answer the question. Hearing this, before Supreme Ancestor Phoenix could speak, the first Vice City Lord said, Supreme Ancestor Phoenix is injured and is not in a good condition. Let me say it. Then, the first Vice City Lord began to talk about the God World's territory being attacked and how they were captured. Originally, most of the people in the God World's territory were with the people in the 9 mystical territory. Under the protection of Supreme Longevity and the Coiling Dragon Spear, they had already retreated in advance when the Heaven Deceivers launched a large-scale attack. As for the first Vice City Lord and Supreme Ancestor Phoenix, they were originally with Supreme Longevity and the rest, but they wanted to return to the God World's territory from the Grotto Heaven and inform the others to escape. However, on the way, they were captured by Tianshao territory's people. In that case, the people left in the God World's territory should have been captured or killed. Hearing this, Knight Sorrow instantly felt terrible. There aren't many people in the God World's territory. Other than Supreme Golden Crow, there are about 10 other sovereigns. The number of casualties should be about 10. This can be considered a blessing in disguise. The first Vice City Lord said sadly. Before the fog could attack, the eternal supreme world was almost destroyed by the heaven deceivers. This made him very sad. However, he was glad that the losses in the God world's territory this time weren't too great. What? Senior Golden Crow died, or was he captured? Hearing this, Knight Sorrow's heart skipped a beat. The Supreme Golden Crow was a senior that he respected greatly. He would not be able to accept the death of the Supreme Golden Crow. The ones in charge of attacking the God world's territory are Tianshao territory. Since Supreme Golden Crow isn't in the cage, he either escaped or was killed. The first Vice City Lord said helplessly. Originally, he and Supreme Ancestor Phoenix had brought people to inform Supreme Golden Crow and the others. However, they were intercepted by Tianshao territory's people on the way. As for what happened when they attacked the God world's territory, no one knew at all. If he didn't escape, then he died. Tianshao territory and the Heaven Deceivers attacked the God world's territory together. No matter how strong Supreme Golden Crow is, it's hard for him to escape. After thinking silently for a while, Knight Sorrow's heart ached. He knew that Supreme Golden Crow was most likely dead. He, who had already rescued the person and was preparing to escape, immediately changed his mind. He transmitted his voice to Tian and I, listen to my orders. I'm prepared to kill this Tianshao Sacred Lord here and avenge Supreme Golden Crow. Good. Today, we don't want a civil war, we also want a martial war. We must give this scum of Tianshao territory a fatal blow. Tian and I immediately responded. He also heard the first Vice City Lord's words and knew that Tianshao territory helped the Heaven Deceivers to attack the God world's territory. Lord Messenger, are you still dissatisfied? Just as Knight Sorrow and the first Vice City Lord were communicating, Tianshao Sacred Lord suddenly spoke. He realized that Knight Sorrow was distracted and was afraid that he would make other plans. Knight Sorrow, who was interrupted, immediately withdrew his mind and looked at Tianshao Sacred Lord. Dissatisfied? There are some. However, Sacred Lord can lend me something to solve this matter. Oh. Lord Messenger, what do you want to borrow? There's no harm in saying so. Tianshao Sacred Lord looked at Knight Sorrow and cursed his greed in his heart. At this time, Knight Sorrow sneered and said, I'll borrow your head. You're pretending to be a cultivator of the Heaven Deceivers. How dare you come to my Tianshao territory to cause trouble? They watched as Yi Shang suddenly released his divine domain and killing intent. This divine domain was clearly different from the aura of the Heaven Deceivers. He immediately determined that Knight Sorrow was a cultivator from the Eternal Supreme World. At this point, he already knew that Knight Sorrow's goal was to save the person in the cage. He immediately felt somewhat vexed. Senior Tian and I, Ape Tian Lai, come out. This Tianshao Sacred Lord must die today. After the Sky Owl Sacred Lord finished speaking, he attacked Yi Shang. Yi Shang summoned the heaven-defying bead and Ape Tian Lai. The three of them attacked Tianshao Sacred Lord together, preparing to kill him before alerting the others. Chapter 32-25. You want to kill me in the Sky Owl territory? Let's see how many heads you have. The Sky Owl Sacred Master said disdainfully after unleashing his attack. He didn't care about Knight Sorrow calling people out at all. It doesn't matter how many heads we have, as long as we can take your head. Knight Sorrow had already activated the Tres Strimsa Battle Mystic technique and activated the Green Phoenix Battle Armor. At the same time, he took out the ancient coffin and threw it at the Sky Owl Sacred Lord to block his attack. This is... The Sky Owl Sacred Lord, who had been blocked by the ancient coffin, was stunned. This ancient coffin looked very similar to the one that had walked out of the Sky Deceiving tribe. This scared him so much that he wanted to turn around and flee. You want to flee? With me here, do you think you can escape? The Sky Owl Sacred Lord was stunned by the ancient coffin that Knight Sorrow had summoned and was preparing to flee. The heaven-defying bead, who had just come out of the grotto heaven, immediately transformed into a sword and attacked. What? A half-step Supreme Realm expert. How is this possible? The Sky Owl's Sacred Lord panicked when he noticed that the heaven-defying bead was a half-step Supreme Realm expert. He didn't have the courage to fight at all. At the same time that he activated the array inscriptions in the guest hall, he used his strongest movement technique and prepared to charge out. You want to escape from me at such a close distance? Aren't you just deceiving yourself? The heaven-defying bead laughed disdainfully when he saw that the Sky Owl's Sacred Lord wanted to escape. When he transformed into a sword, his normal attack was about the same as when he used an ultimate technique in his human form. How could the Heavenly Owl's Sacred Lord withstand this attack? He was directly sent flying by this attack. Kill him directly. Don't show mercy. Night Sorrow shouted when he saw the Sky Owl's Sacred Lord being sent flying by the heaven-defying bead. He used the ancient coffin to smash the Sky Owl's Sacred Lord. Ape Tianlai also swung his divine weapon and smashed it over. After being bombarded by the two of them, the Heavenly Owl's Sacred Master was immediately delayed in getting up. Under such circumstances, the heaven-defying bead had already prepared his strongest attack. He suddenly blasted it out. When the heaven-defying bead's attack ended, Night Sorrow discovered that the Heavenly Owl Holy Lord had been instantly killed. After putting away the Sky Owl's Sacred Lord's spatial artifact, he took out the scroll of the hidden mission and confirmed that it had been completed. Night Sorrow took out the lower half of the Eternal Divine Tower and said, "Convert it into energy." All right. Little Seven immediately responded as a representative. Then, he put the Sky Owl Saint Lord into it and said, "Absorbing an expert at the peak of the upper Heavenly Sovereign level will give you a lot of resources. Although it won't help you directly advance to the half-step Heavenly Sovereign level, it won't be far off. This is definitely a great harvest. The harvest doesn't matter. I'm doing this mainly to avenge Senior Golden Crow." Night Sorrow said, then used the Sea Serpent's eye to observe the surroundings and said, "Sky Owl's Sacred Lord has already informed the others and activated the formation patterns. We have to leave quickly. Don't worry. This parlor's array patterns can't trap me at all." At this moment, the heaven-defying bead said something and soared into the sky, directly blasting open the roof of the guest hall. Then, he shouted, "Enter my space and I'll bring you all out. Sky Owl territory can't trap me. All right. Let's go in." After the heaven-defying bead finished speaking, Yen Tianlai was a little hesitant. However, Night Sorrow didn't hesitate at all and took the lead to enter the heaven-defying bead's space. He basically trusted the heaven-defying bead 100%. After Night Sorrow and Yen Tianlai entered, the heaven-defying bead laughed and said, "I think that if Sky Owl territory doesn't have any half-step Supreme Realm experts, we can kill a few more and leave." Night Sorrow said, "Although the people of Sky Owl territory aren't a threat, if I'm not wrong, the people of the Heavenly Deceiving Tribe will definitely come. We have to leave quickly. If we leave this place, where will we go?" The heaven-defying bead didn't refute Night Sorrow's words. He asked about the future of Night Sorrow and the others. "We'll look for Supreme Longevity and the rest here, as well as Senior Yen. If we can't find them, we'll return to the foggy area. I'm too strong now, and I don't have the ability to kill all of the Heavenly Deceiving Tribe. So, we have to go back and increase our strength as soon as possible." Night Sorrow said helplessly. At present, whether it was Supreme Longevity and the rest or Yen Jizuan, it was very difficult to find them. He didn't have much hope. At this moment, the heaven-defying bead said, "How about this? You and Yen Tianlai return to the foggy area. I'll stay here and look for their whereabouts. What do you think? Anyway, it's very difficult for my strength to increase in a short period of time." That's good too. But we'll talk about this after we leave this place." Night Sorrow felt that since they had killed so many Heavenly Deceiving Tribe members nearby, those Heavenly Deceiving Tribe members should catch up soon. "All right. Then I'll bring you guys away. What do you plan to do with those Heavenly Deceiving Tribe members who surrendered?" The heaven-defying bead asked as they rushed towards the periphery of Sky Owl territory. The many experts of Sky Owl territory continuously bombarded it with the help of the sex array formation. I haven't considered this problem. But it's best that the few of them stay. After all, they can help us understand about the heavenly deceiving tribe. Night Sorrow said and summoned 2 heavenly deceiving tribe members. He placed them in the heaven-defying beads space and said, I'll leave these 2 for you, Senior. You can ask them some things about the heavenly deceiving tribe. Okay. The heaven-defying bead replied and blasted out a few beams of light at the many cultivators who intercepted him. These beams of light were all half-step to Supreme Realm attacks. Although they looked simple, when they reached, they exploded with great power. The Grand Elder of Sky Owl territory was almost blown to death. They were so frightened that they didn't dare to chase anymore. They allowed the heaven-defying bead to fly directly out of Sky Owl territory. Not long after flying out of Sky Owl territory, the heaven-defying bead said, the heavenly deceiving tribe members are indeed here. There are about 10 teams. The leader is an upper heavenly sovereign. Should we take action? 10 teams, that's about 100 heavenly sovereigns. Hearing this, Night Sorrow immediately asked. The total number is more than 100, but they've all split up into teams and traveled separately. If we want to attack, there's still a chance. The heaven-defying bead explained. If the other party had more than 100 heavenly sovereigns, even a half-step to Supreme Realm like him wouldn't be able to handle it. Naturally, he had no intention of attacking. Since that's the case, let's find a chance to get rid of 1 or 2 teams of heavenly clans. Convert them into energy. I'm just short of some energy to break through to half-step to heavenly sovereign. After hearing the heaven-defying bead's explanation, Night Sorrow immediately replied. Then I'll look for a weak team to attack. After getting Night Sorrow's confirmation, the heaven-defying bead changed the direction of his flight and flew towards a small team of heavenly sovereigns led by a middle heavenly sovereign, blocking their path. Chapter 32:26. Who knows how many people these bastards have killed in the Eternal Supreme World? If we can kill them, we can't let them go. Ape Tianlia's eyes were filled with murderous intent as he looked at these alien races. It was these heaven-defying alien races that had turned his long-awaited return into a form of torture. Brother Ape, don't be too agitated. Once we go back and increase our strength, we will definitely chase these alien races out. No matter if it's the heaven-deceiving alien race or the people of the foggy area, none of them can destroy our home. Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Ape Tianli before they were ready to attack. At this moment, the alien race team was getting closer and closer. At this moment, the heaven-defying bead said, prepare to attack. Then, he released Night Sorrow and Ape Tianli. No hurry. Let's wait for them to get closer before we attack. I will give them a gift. After saying that, Night Sorrow set up a 13820983162 concealment array. Within the concealment array, he began to brew the Nirvana Heart Fire that he had learned from Su Lei. When the heaven-deceiving races team flew back, he immediately used this move. The alien races who were unprepared were all hit. They have been hit by my Nirvana Heart Fire and their strength is greatly reduced. Let's kill them. When the Nirvana Heart Fire that had been brewing for a long time hit these alien races, Night Sorrow suddenly transmitted his voice. Then, together with Tian Ni and Ape Tianli, they charged towards these alien races. With Tian Ni, a half-step to the Supreme Realm, these alien races who were hit by the Nirvana Heart Fire were all killed very quickly. After the lower half of the Eternal Divine Tower absorbed the energy of these alien races. Tian Ni suggested, it's so easy for us to kill one team. Why don't we kill all the alien races nearby before leaving? What do you think? We can kill more, but there's no need to take such a huge risk for these alien races. Tian Shao territory will definitely report the death of Tian Shao Holy Lord to the alien races. If they hear that there are half-step to the Supreme Realm experts here, they might send out forces that we can't fight against. Night Sorrow analyzed. Then, under Tian Ni and Ape Tianlie's strong request, they killed another 3 alien race teams. Only then did he leave the vicinity of Heavenly Owl territory. When they were far enough away, Night Sorrow left with Ape Tianlai, while Heaven Defying went to find Yen Jizuan and the others. After the Heaven Defying bead left, Night Sorrow did not bring Yuan Tianlai to the foggy area. Instead, he put Ape Tianlai into the space paradise and headed to the God World to find the passage to the God World. After returning to the Divine World to take a look, he confirmed that other than the heavenly demons from the ethereal mountain range causing trouble, there were no other problems. After that, he left the Divine World and headed to the fog region. To Night Sorrow, the most important thing right now was to increase his strength. After reaching the foggy area, Night Sorrow began to absorb the dark energy of the ancient coffin. Ape Tianlai was the same. After absorbing the dark energy, Ape Tianlai said, "Night Sorrow, do you still remember what I told you last time?" "What is it?" Night Sorrow asked curiously. "It's about helping my clansmen recover." Ape Tianlai looked at Night Sorrow and said nervously, "You can, but if you purify them now, they won't have an environment to continue growing. That's not good. After all, you can cultivate normally in the foggy area because of my power of merit. If you purify them now, your clansmen will only be able to move around me. That's equivalent to restricting their freedom." Night Sorrow analyzed and said, "That's why it's best to purify them before the war starts. That's the most appropriate way." "You're right. If we purify them now, we might as well let them continue to increase their strength in this state." Ape Tianlai agreed with Night Sorrow's analysis. After that, Night Sorrow brought Ape Tianlai back to the Killer Heaven Academy. When they reached the area controlled by the Killer Heaven Academy, he immediately went to find Yunyi and the others. He wanted to see how they had developed over the past few days, and whether they had established their own forces. When he arrived, Night Sorrow realized that Yunyi and the others had already built the palace. The mountain peak was already in shape. Not bad. It's already quite large. I wonder if they've already recruited enough people. Night Sorrow said with interest as he looked at the palace below. They should have recruited quite a few people already. Otherwise, why would they build so many palaces? Ape Tianlai said with a smile as he floated in the air and looked at the 12 palaces. "Let's go. We'll know when we see it." Night Sorrow said and flew down. As he wanted to test the array formation defenses on Yunye's place, he didn't transmit his voice to the others. As they flew down, Yishan was instantly astonished. There was no array formation on Yunye's mountain peak. Why is there no array formation? Isn't this equivalent to opening the door wide? After observing for a while, Night Sorrow was surprised. He realized that there was no array formation on the entire mountain peak. Yeah. How strange. If they don't even set up an array formation, who would choose to join them? Ape Tianlai said doubtfully. "Let's go ask Yunyi what's going on." He definitely wouldn't be able to guess anything, so Night Sorrow activated his soul power and searched for the location of Yunyi and the others. After searching, he didn't find a single outsider. When he found Yunyi, Night Sorrow immediately asked, "Brother Yun, why didn't you set up an array formation? I get angry just thinking about it. We've set up more than 10 arrays, but each time, it was maliciously destroyed. And we don't even know who did it." Before Yunyi could speak, Xian Nian said unhappily. Then Yunyi said angrily, "Someone must be deliberately playing with us. They have the ability to destroy arrays and should be able to kill us easily. But they didn't do that." He was very unhappy that the arrays were continuously destroyed and they couldn't find out who did it. Then someone must be maliciously targeting us. "I think they're not targeting you, but me. It's very likely that Lin Dongqing's men are secretly attacking." Night Sorrow speculated and continued, "Next, I'll set up the array formation. Let's see if they still have the ability to destroy it. If they can't even set up the array formation, it'll be difficult for us to gain a foothold here. Follow me back to Lu Tian Academy directly." "All right." It looks like that's the only way now. Yunyi said unwillingly, but he didn't have a better idea now. Lin Dongqing, who has a grudge with me, has a big family behind him. They should be the ones behind it. Night Sorrow began to set up the array formation after he finished speaking. He set up the 5-bull array and other trapping arrays consecutively. After he was done, he looked at Yunyi and the others and said, "This time, I'm not setting up a defensive array formation. It's meant to deal with cultivators. If they try to destroy it again, they'll definitely fall for it. Alright. Then we'll wait for them to take the bait. This time, we must teach them a lesson," Yunyi said angrily. Chapter 32-27. Of course we have to show them some colors. But we don't know when they'll appear, so we don't have to keep paying attention to them. Let's do other things for now. I'll let you know if anything happens. Yi Shang knew that Yunyi and Xian Nian were infuriated and wanted to catch them, so he comforted them. Sigh. We're too impatient right now. We don't have the mood to do anything else. Yunyi shook his head. Xian Nian was the same. He said unhappily, "We've already formed a knot in our hearts. We'll just wait in the spell formation. Brother Yi, go ahead and do whatever you want. Don't worry about us." Alright then. I need some time to cultivate. Night Sorrow said a few words to them before he found a large hall suitable for cultivation and entered the Eternal Divine Tower to begin his cultivation. In the tenfold acceleration, he continuously absorbed energy for more than 30 years and raised his strength to the peak of Earthly Sovereign, which was a half-step Heavenly Sovereign. He was only one step away from becoming a Heavenly Sovereign. He was about to catch up with some of the experts in the fog. Seeing that Night Sorrow had become a half-step Heavenly Sovereign, Xiaowu congratulated him. Night Sorrow, congratulations on being a step closer to becoming a Heavenly Sovereign. With your talent, when you become a Heavenly Sovereign, you might be able to fight with those upper Heavenly Sovereigns. I might not be able to compete with those veteran experts. They have a lot of experience. But if I can become a Heavenly Sovereign, I should be able to easily win against a middle Heavenly Sovereign. Night Sorrow analyzed. He felt that many of those upper Heavenly Sovereigns were old antiques who had cultivated for a long time. None of them were simple. They just live a little longer. They have more experience. They might have learned more about divine weapons and secret arts. Although you don't know much, you're not necessarily worse than them when it comes to learning everything. Xiaowu praised again. Especially if you can gather a few more levels of the Eternal Divine Tower. Xiaowu, I know that you have a strong desire to gather the 4th and 6th levels. When the time is right, we'll go. Night Sorrow knew that Xiaowu was envious of the 7th, 8th, and 9th levels. In fact, he also wanted to gather the entire Eternal Divine Tower as soon as possible. However, it was very difficult to get the remaining 5 levels. He needed to advance to the level of a Heavenly Supreme before he could attempt it. Especially the last 2 levels. Not only did he need strength to obtain them, but he also needed some luck. He also needed to make sure that Mia and the others were not in the cities under his control. Night Sorrow, don't worry, I can wait. I believe that the Eternal Divine Tower will see the light of its day. Little Five knew that Yi Shang was worried about him, so he replied. Don't worry, I've already taken care of it. Since I've already advanced to the half-step Heavenly Sovereign level, there's no need for me to continue cultivating. To become a Heavenly Sovereign STS. In any case, he had to wait for the people who destroyed the array. To course. Test. Up until now, Yunyi had already grasped more than 20 character formulas and had basically mastered them. Night Sorrow was only able to combine a few characters to use, so he was relatively weaker. However, he was not in a hurry to study the arrangement of the words. Instead, he continued to comprehend them. After studying for about 20 years in the space where the speed was 10 times faster, Night Sorrow had comprehended 23 words. He was almost catching up to Yunyi. He had wanted to strike while the iron was hot and study a few more words. But today, he received a voice transmission from Yunyi. It was from Yunyi and Xiannian. They had waited for a few years, but the people who destroyed the formation did not appear. They went to the nearby cities to recruit some subordinates. Today, he and Xiannian rushed back with about 50 cultivators. Among these cultivators, there were 6 lower heavenly sovereigns. The rest were earth sovereigns. They were considered strong. Brother Yunyi, Brother Xiannian. We recruited so many people right from the start. It's not easy to maintain, is it? It'll take a lot of resources to raise so many people. We don't have that many resources at the moment. Knight Sorrow was surprised to see that the two of them had brought back so many people at once. They were too rash. Brother Yi, don't worry. We're doing this with the approval of Lu Tian Academy. We're gathering the people together. Then, we'll go and complete the various missions in the city. Basically, we'll be responsible for our own profits and losses. It's not a problem to have more people. Xiannian said with a smile after hearing Knight Sorrow's worries. He and Yunyi had studied the rules thoroughly during the years they had been in the vicinity. They knew how to develop. Knight Sorrow continued, I'm worried about 2 things. First, there will be spies from the enemy. Second, we'll be targeted by other forces when we're doing missions. If the missions don't go well, not only will we not be able to keep people, but our reputation will also be ruined. Brother Ye's worries are reasonable. But if we want to develop our own strength, we have to take this step. Yunyi said, then continued, if Brother Yi is worried that someone will be disloyal, we can set a rule and make those who join us swear a heavenly oath. That's a good idea. You can settle them down and do it. Otherwise, it won't be good for us if they attack us from the inside. By the way, Brother Yun, I think that since we've already set up shop, you should give the force a name. Knight Sorrow, who had been secretly observing these cultivators, continued to send a telepathic message. Through the observation of the sea serpent's eye, he realized that these cultivators were all looking around after entering. This was in line with human nature. He couldn't say anything. Upon hearing Knight Sorrow's words, Yunyi continued, I'm going to call this place Night Demon Peak. We'll use your name in the Mist District as the name of the force. That's fine too. But if you use my name, you'll definitely be targeted in the future. After all, when I leave New Elegant Peak, I'll have to compete with many older students in the battlefield of Killer Heaven. By then, it won't be as simple as being targeted by Lin Dongqing alone. Knight Sorrow said slowly. He knew that the path to his rise would definitely be a path of battle. It's fine. A force that grows in the wind and rain will definitely be more reliable. Let's call it Night Demon Peak then. As he spoke, Yunyi personally wrote the words, Night Demon Peak, at the mountain gate. Then, he said loudly, thank you all for joining us. In the future, Night Demon Peak will grow into one of the major forces in the Killer Heaven Academy. Night Demon Peak. Is the Night Demon our backer in the Killer Heaven Academy? Yunyi had just written the name Night Demon Peak and attracted the attention of many cultivators. Someone asked. Yes. The Night Demon is our backer. He's the top student in this world. His future is limitless. Yunyi nodded and said. He was very proud of Knight Sorrow's achievements. Chapter 32-28. Night Demon. I've heard of him. Back then, my brother and I wanted to participate in the selection. But the rules were too cruel, so we didn't dare to participate. Night Demon successfully killed his way into the academy right in front of us. One of the heavenly sovereigns, Pan Nya, became excited when he heard the name Night Demon. Then, his brother, Heavenly Sovereign Pan Yu, said, I was there too. But I remember that Night Demon is an Earth Sovereign. Did he really become the top person this year? Of course. And he's already been recognized as a first-tier genius by the 3 vice-deans of the Academy. It's almost certain that he'll become a half-step to the Supreme Realm in the future. His future is limitless. Xian Nian said proudly as everyone asked about Night Demon. To Night Demon Peak, Night Sorrow was a living advertisement. After he finished speaking, some of the heavenly sovereigns and earth sovereigns were instantly energized. They kept asking about Night Sorrow. Yunyi and Xian Nian, on the other hand, spoke word by word. Everyone, who didn't have much confidence in Night Demon Peak, gradually felt a sense of belonging. He hasn't even joined the academy for a few days, and he's already recruiting. I'd like to see how long your Night Demon Peak can last. Just as everyone was chatting and drinking, a sharp arrow emitting a silver-gray light suddenly shot toward Night Demon Peak's signboard. Obviously, it was an enemy attack. The attacker was prepared to shoot down Night Demon Peak's signboard to embarrass Yunyi and Xian Nian. Similarly, it was also a slap to Night Sorrow's face. What arrow is that? It can actually pierce through the array set up by Brother Yi. Xian Nian's expression immediately changed when he saw the arrow flying towards him. At this moment, Heavenly Sovereign Pan Nye exclaimed, "That's the Lin clan's array-breaking cloud arrow. It's the Lin clan behind Lin Dongqing. The Lin clan. It's the Lin clan." Some of the people present panicked when they heard about the Lin clan. At this moment, Yunyi flew up to intercept the array-breaking cloud arrow. But just as Yunyi flew over, Night Sorrow shouted, "Brother Yun, let me do it." At the same time, he activated the Treistrimsa battle secret technique, activated the Azure Phoenix battle armor, and used the 9 steps of the heaven-defying sword. Skyrocket. He stretched out his hand to grab the cloud-piercing arrow. Who is this? The formation-breaking cloud-piercing arrow is made of ancient star iron and has been strengthened by Venerable Mieji. It is very powerful. You can't grab it with your hands. Upon seeing Night Sorrow grab the cloud-piercing arrow with his bare hands, Heavenly Sovereign Pan Nye immediately shouted a warning. Thanks for the reminder. However, a divine weapon still needed a divine person to wield it. The person who shot this arrow was too weak, so he couldn't display the true power of this arrow. As Night Sorrow responded, he suddenly used the 100-word mantra's frozen 3-word mantra on the cloud-piercing arrow. He wanted them to cooperate and use it. He reduced the speed of the formation-breaking cloud-piercing arrow as much as possible before reaching out to grab it. Although Night Sorrow had retreated nearly 1,000 feet after catching the formation-breaking cloud-piercing arrow, he still managed to stop in front of the plaque. To be able to catch the formation-breaking cloud-piercing arrow, what kind of person is boss? How can he be so powerful? Upon seeing Night Sorrow grab the arrow with his bare hands, Heavenly Sovereign Pan Nye asked in confusion. Ha ha ha. This is the Night Demon, the #1 person in Lu Tian Academy this year. After getting Night Sorrow's approval, Yunyi said with a smile. So it's Lord Night Demon. No wonder he's so powerful. There's only one formation-breaking cloud-piercing arrow. If we can refine it by force, it will be a great help in breaking formations in the future. Heavenly Sovereign Pan Nye also praised. He was full of admiration for Night Sorrow's methods. The other people who had been recruited also felt that Night Sorrow's performance was very impressive, and they all began to praise him. Oh. There's only one formation-breaking cloud-piercing arrow? Very good. Upon hearing that there was only one formation-breaking cloud-piercing arrow, Night Sorrow immediately felt relieved. Because of this, the cultivators sent by the Lin family this time would not be a threat to them. You think you're so great just because you caught an arrow? You're just a bunch of trash who haven't seen the world. At this moment, another shout came from afar. A male cultivator from the Lin family threatened, "Those who have just been recruited, the Lin family will give you a chance. Leave this so-called Night Demon Peak within a month. Otherwise, all of you will die without a burial ground." The Lin family. It's indeed the Lin family behind this. Hearing the other parties shout, Yunyi immediately gritted his teeth and said. As for the people he had just recruited, they were obviously nervous. Although the Lin family was very rude, they did not have the courage to resist the Lin family at all. In an instant, all of them retreated. Brother Yi, everyone here is hesitating. What should we do? Should we kill those people outside to establish our dominance? The angry Yunyi did not act rashly. Instead, he asked. Establishing our dominance is a must. But we have to give these people a sense of security. I'll settle it. Night Sorrow replied Yunyi and flew through the mountain gate. He shouted outside, shameless boasting. You bunch of trash, what else can you do other than secretly attacking people? If you have the ability, come in and injure someone for me to see. If the Lin family wants to flatten your Night Demon Peak, it will be as easy as blowing off dust. The male cultivator from the Lin family still had a haughty look, but he did not move. You guys are so close, but you don't dare to attack. Do you only know how to use your mouth? Night Sorrow immediately mocked when the other party did not attack. Since you want to die, don't blame us for disobeying the orders of the Lord. Originally, the Lord was merciful and wanted to spare your lives. But now, it seems that you don't want to live at all. After Night Sorrow shouted, the male cultivator from the Lin family shouted again. Then, he shouted, the people we are going to kill are only the Night Demon, Yunyi, and Xian Nian. As long as you guys who were recruited don't attack, we will not target you. More than 10 heavenly sovereigns have come. Is this all you have? You don't have to be afraid. Only the 3 of us will attack Night Demon Peak today. Night Sorrow had already seen that more than 10 heavenly sovereigns had come from the Lin family, but there were less than 10 people on their side. Under such circumstances, the Lin family still threatened the cultivators they had just recruited. They had no courage at all. Kill them. After Night Sorrow spoke, the male cultivator leading the Lin family immediately roared. Then, he led his men and charged toward Night Demon Peak. Looking at the people charging over, Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Yunyi and Xian Nian. Let them enter the array. They will break the 5-bull array no matter what. We have 100% chance of winning. Good. Since Brother Yi is so confident, let's be more high profile. When Xian Nian heard Night Sorrow's words, he immediately looked at the other cultivators he had recruited and said, prepare the food and wine. We will kill all these enemies in front of us, then drink and eat meat with you. Chapter 32-29. Can an earthly sovereign and 2 heavenly sovereigns really get rid of the dozen heavenly sovereigns before us? If you weren't confident, we wouldn't have just stood by and watched. Pan Ye didn't retreat when he saw that the Lin family was outnumbered. Instead, he asked a question. Pan Ye's brother, Pan Yu, said, that's right. Although we don't have much ability, we are definitely not cowards. Although the Lin family is powerful, it's not enough to make us tuck our tails between our legs. Ha! Pan Ye and Pan Ye, you two are really impressive. However, these ants in front of us are no threat to us. You can just drink and watch. Night Sorrow hadn't expected the Pan family brothers to step forward in such a situation. He was really grateful. After all, if the 2 of them had stepped forward, the others would have definitely stepped forward. Otherwise, it would have been too painful a slap in the face. However, he, Yunyi, and Xian Nian didn't need any help at all, so they politely declined. Ha ha ha. Since Brother Night Devil is so confident. Let's drink and watch for now. Here, this is the 10,000-year incense to help you. Pan Yu laughed and took out 3 jars of wine, handing them to Night Sorrow, Yunyi, and Xian Nian. Thank you for your kindness, Brother Pan. Night Sorrow opened the sea serpent's eye to check. After confirming that there was no problem with the wine, he drank it immediately. Yunyi and Xian Nian were a little hesitant at first, but when they saw that Night Sorrow had already drunk it, they opened the bottle. You are about to be killed, yet you are still in the mood to drink. I don't even know how to describe the few of you. Lin Guanyin, the leader of the Lin family, scolded when he saw that Night Sorrow, Yunyi, and the others were drinking at this juncture. At the same time, the other Lin family members moved quickly and attacked Night Demon Peak. Killing you is as easy as slaughtering chickens and rabbits. Why can't we drink? Yunyi bellowed as he looked at the Lin family members. How arrogant. Let's see how you will cry later. Lin Guanyin of the Lin family looked at Yi Shang and the others with disdain. As for Night Sorrow, he wasn't even in the mood to summon Ape Tian Lai. After drinking, he summoned his golden heavenly halberd and let it float in the air, waiting for the Lin family to attack. At this time, Yun Yi and Xian Nian had also finished drinking. They threw the jar on the ground and were ready to fight. Some of the cultivators who had been recruited understood that the leaders of Night Devil Peak wanted to establish their might. Therefore, he didn't let anyone help him. They were very curious as to whether the three of them could successfully defend Night Demon Peak under the siege of more than 10 heavenly sovereigns from the Lin family. Boom! Under the watchful gazes of the crowd, the Lin family, led by Lin Guanyin, charged towards the signboard of the Night Demon Peak. This time, Night Sorrow didn't stop them. Instead, he activated the 5 Bulls formation and neutralized all the attacks. At the same time, Night Sorrow took out the lower half of the Eternal Divine Tower and prepared it to absorb the energy. Although the energy absorbed by the Eternal Divine Tower could not help him become a heavenly sovereign for the time being, it could form a very powerful attack. So your confidence lies in these newly set up formations. Let me tell you, these are all insignificant tricks. Kill them. As Lin Guanyin roared, he took out a huge bronze bell from his spatial magical artifact and started to strike it. It released a huge sound wave and blasted towards the formation that Night Sorrow had set up. Idiot! Seeing Lin Guanyin use his magical artifact to attack the 5 Bulls formation, Night Sorrow originally had the ability to use the formation to resist it. However, he felt that if the formation was so exaggerated, the Lin family would very likely not dare to enter. Therefore, when the other party attacked, he stopped the 5 Bulls formation and used an illusory formation to resist the sound wave of the bronze bell. Lin Guanyin's magical artifact was still very powerful. It directly shattered all the illusory formations that Night Sorrow had set up. Ha ha ha! I told you that these are all insignificant tricks. Lin Guanyin, who thought that he had broken all the formations of Night Demon Peak, laughed arrogantly and roared, "Kill Night Devil, Yun Yi, and Xian Nian." Yes. When the heavenly sovereigns of the Lin family heard the order, they immediately roared and charged towards Night Sorrow and the rest. Their auras gave off an extremely powerful feeling, causing the majority of the spectators to unconsciously take a few steps back. Only the 2 brothers of the Pan family remained in their original positions. As for Night Sorrow, Yun Yi, and Xian Nian, they went against the flow and attacked the heavenly sovereigns of the Lin family. At this moment, the 3 of them had completely unleashed their power. In terms of aura, they were completely superior to the Lin families. Great! Seeing Night Sorrow and the rest explode with such fighting spirit, Heavenly Sovereign Pan Nya couldn't help but cheer. Although the battle before them had yet to begin, he and his brother had already decided that if Night Sorrow and the rest could defend Night Demon Peak today, they would choose to join wholeheartedly. Great! I think they will die a horrible death. Lin Guanyin shouted disdainfully when he heard someone cheering. The one who will die a horrible death is you. At this moment, the Lin family had already entered the range of the 5 Bulls array. Night Sorrow sneered and activated the 5 Bulls array again. When the deafening spiritual attack reverberated, Lin Guanyin and the rest were shocked. They hadn't expected that there would still be an array in Night Demon Peak. They had originally planned to charge forward and smash the signboard of Night Demon Peak, but now they had to resist the ferocious spiritual attack. Lin Guanyin took out the copper bell again and shook it. However, under the bombardment of the 5 Bulls array, the sound of the copper bell was completely muffled. Let's go! Seeing that the 5 Bulls array's effect had been completely activated, Night Sorrow roared and charged into the array with the golden heavenly halberd in his hand. The first target he chose was the leader of the opposition, Lin Guanyin. You are just an earthly sovereign. Lin Guanyin had originally thought that Yun Yi would be the one to fight, but when he realized that it was Night Sorrow, he was prepared to mock him, even though he was suffering from the suppression of the array. However, before he could finish his sentence, Night Sorrow interrupted him and said, "You talk too much nonsense. Just shut up." Then, Night Sorrow struck him with the Ice Seal formula and the Divine Origin trapping array. He executed the 9 steps of the Defiant Heavenly Halberd and attacked Lin Guanyin. Seeing that Night Sorrow's attack wasn't simple, Lin Guanyin, who had wanted to say a few more words, shut his mouth and took it seriously. After all, he was a middle heavenly sovereign and had a certain status in the Lin family. His combat power was still pretty good. However, Night Sorrow had now advanced to the level of a half-step heavenly sovereign, and his combat power had been further enhanced. Under the influence of the 5 Bulls array, the Divine Origin trapping array, and the Ice Seal formula, Night Sorrow quickly suppressed Lin Guanyin. Oh no! Someone save me! Lin Guanyin, who was suppressed, quickly realized that he wasn't a match for Night Sorrow. He immediately called for help. Immediately, the dozen heavenly sovereigns, who had been besieging Yun Yi and Xian Nian to kill them quickly, suddenly split up and surrounded Night Sorrow. Chapter 32:30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The Night Demon, who is only an earthly sovereign, can fight against 7 heavenly sovereigns by himself. It's unbelievable. This kind of talent is rarely seen in the foggy area. Even when the heavenly sovereigns surrounded him, Night Sorrow was still unstoppable. Heavenly Sovereign Pan Nya couldn't help but praise him when he saw how valiant he was. The others who were watching the battle were also sincerely convinced by Night Sorrow. They felt that he was simply amazing. This Night Demon is really difficult to deal with. No wonder he can be Young Master's opponent. After being suppressed by Night Sorrow, Lin Guanyin said unhappily. Although he knew that the people in front of him were seriously affected by the array, the most important thing was that Night Sorrow was strong enough. Although his cultivation was at the level of a half-step heavenly sovereign, he was much stronger than ordinary middle heavenly sovereigns. This was the main reason why he was able to handle the attacks of 7 people with ease. Brother, this Night Demon is too difficult to deal with. Should we run away? Being suppressed by Night Sorrow and in danger of losing his life at any time, Lin Guanyin's younger brother, Lin Guangxian, asked fearfully. At this moment, he clearly felt that his head was no longer under his control, and he immediately wanted to retreat. No need. Aren't the others suppressing Yun Yi and Xian Nian? After they kill the 2 of them, the dozen of us will attack the Night Demon together. We will definitely be able to kill him. In the end, this array is too disgusting. We were careless and fell for it. Lin Guanyin, who was observing the battle on the other side, replied through voice transmission. Naturally, their communication couldn't be heard by Night Sorrow. After hearing Lin Guanyin's words, Lin Guangxian replied, "All right. Let's hold on a little longer. There are so many cultivators watching. This concerns the Lin family's reputation. Let's hold on together." After saying that, Lin Guanyin continued to fight with Night Sorrow. He had the strength of a middle heavenly sovereign, but he was seriously affected by the 5 Bulls array. During the battle, he felt dizzy. Although he said he was powerful, he always hid in the back during the battle with Night Sorrow, afraid that he would be killed directly. The other members of the Lin family could naturally tell, but no one dared to say anything. They could only brace themselves and fight with the godlike Night Sorrow. Compared to the Lin family's decline, Night Sorrow was getting more and more courageous. Everyone was suppressed to the point that they couldn't even raise their heads. He smiled and said, "Is that all your Lin family has? How could they call themselves a great clan? What a joke. If you have any trump cards, hurry up and use them. Otherwise, you won't have the chance to use them again." In fact, the current Night Sorrow had the ability to kill everyone in front of him. However, he didn't do that because he still had a battle with Lin Dongqing. He wanted to see some of the Lin family's secret techniques from these people. This way, he would be able to gain a better understanding of Lin Dongqing. Thus, even though he had attacked ferociously, he had not killed anyone. Arrogant brat. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Lin Guanyin was completely enraged. As a member of the Lin family, he had never been humiliated in public like this. Although he was afraid that he would be killed directly, he still stood up. He said, "Everyone, cooperate with me and use the strongest secret technique of the Lin family. King of all forests." Yes. The other cultivators of the Lin family who were fighting with Night Sorrow all responded. King of all forests. Hearing the name alone, Night Sorrow couldn't guess what it was. However, he was very confident in himself. After Lin Guanyin shouted the name, he temporarily restrained his attacks and created the conditions for him to use this secret technique. "How dare you be so arrogant? You will die here immediately." Lin Guanyin could clearly sense that Night Sorrow was resisting and immediately shouted angrily. As his voice fell, the king of all forests was completely unleashed. As soon as this ultimate technique was unleashed, thick ancient trees appeared in the void. At a rough glance, there were hundreds of thousands of them. Each of these trees was formed by energy and emitted a black light. It feels very powerful. Very good. Finally, something is waiting for me. The king of all forests in front of him gave Night Sorrow a strong sense of oppression. This secret technique must be one of Lin Dongqing's trump cards. This was what he wanted to see. Brother Night Demon, be careful. This is one of the strongest secret techniques of the Lin family. Its power is extremely terrifying. Seeing that Lin Guanyin was cooperating with the other cultivators to use the king of all forests, Night Sorrow didn't stop him. Heavenly Sovereign Pan Nye reminded him immediately. He had heard of this secret technique of the Lin family. "Don't worry, I'm fine." "Drink up," Night Sorrow replied to Pan Nye, then looked at Lin Guanyin and said, "I see that you are almost ready. Isn't it time to use this secret technique? This is the first time I, Lin Guanyin, have seen someone as reckless as you. Go to hell." After being provoked by Yi Shang's words, Lin Guanyin completely erupted and unleashed the king of 10,000 forests. As thousands of energy trees bombarded Night Sorrow, a huge, colorful tiger appeared in the void. While Night Sorrow was dodging the attacks of the trees, the colorful tiger pounced on Night Sorrow. Compared to the trees, this tiger was much stronger. Not only was it huge, but it also looked like it had materialized. After it appeared, it started attacking wildly. So the core of the king of all forests is this tiger? I think it's just a so-so. It's just a sick tiger like all of you. Night Sorrow, who was fighting against the tiger in front of him, said disdainfully. If that was all, he didn't think this move was anything special. It wasn't exquisite enough for him to learn from. You're being too naive. Lin Guanyin's face was filled with disdain. Then, another Bai'an suddenly appeared in the air. It also pounced at Yi Shan. Interesting. So this is the ultimate technique to summon powerful creatures to fight? Night Sorrow observed with the eye of the sea serpent and found that the tiger and Bai'an summoned by Lin Guanyin were all between materialized and energy. This was very mysterious. When fighting the Bai'an and the tiger, he found that Lin Guanyin and the others were already exhausted. They couldn't summon anything else in the void. As he destroyed the tiger and Bai'an, Lin Guanyin and the others completely lost the ability to fight back. They were killed one by one. However, Yi Shang had asked Lin Guanyin to stay behind. He wanted to ask him more about Lin Dongqing. This would help him understand Lin Dongqing better and he could learn some of the Lin family's ultimate techniques from him. Know yourself and your enemy and you will never be defeated. Night Sorrow killed the cultivators of the Lin family one by one. Yun Yi and Xian Nian, who were struggling to hold on, heaved a sigh of relief. After that, their battle became very simple. With Night Sorrow's help, they easily won the final victory. Chapter 32-31. Amazing. Truly amazing. The strength of the three of you has really broadened our horizons. Heavenly Supreme Pan Nye exclaimed after Night Sorrow, Yun Yi, and Xian Nian finished off the cultivators of the Lin family. In his opinion, the fighting strength and cohesiveness of the unaffiliated cultivators were simply fascinating. It made them feel a surge of vigorous vitality. It was as if they could see the beautiful future of Night Demon Peak at this moment. Ha, Brother Pan, you're too kind. We also relied on the power of the array to achieve victory so easily. Yunyi replied modestly after being complimented. Ha! Boss Yunyi, you're too humble. The fighting strength you just displayed is really admirable. The two of us will accompany you in the future to witness the rise of Night Demon Peak. Heavenly Supreme Pan Nye said with a smile. The two of them had already decided to join Night Demon Peak wholeheartedly and grow together with it. Welcome, both of you. Yunyi knew that the two of them joining now was completely different from when they were in the city. Night Sorrow said, "Don't worry, I can assure you that joining Night Demon Peak was not a bad choice. I still have things to do, so I'll leave the matters of Night Demon Peak to you all. Goodbye." He knew that his appearance as an expert had already had an effect of uplifting everyone. The Lin family had suffered heavy losses this time, so Lin Dongqing would have to think twice before sending people to harass them. After all, although he was one of the geniuses of the Lin family, his power was not so great that he could mobilize the family's manpower at will. He would leave the matters in the future to Yun Yi and Xian Nian. Brother Yi, don't worry. Leave the matters here to Brother Yun and me. You can return to Lu Tian Academy to break through to the Heavenly Supreme Realm. Be careful of Lin Dongqing. I feel that he's capable of anything. Xian Nian sent a voice transmission to Night Sorrow to reassure him when he saw that he was about to leave. If anything happens to the Lin family, inform me immediately. Yi Shang returned to the Lu Tian Academy after leaving behind a message. When he returned to his residence, Night Sorrow immediately learned from the servants that Gusubi was looking for him. Gusubi? Why is he looking for me? Night Sorrow had some impression of this Gusu farewell. His brother seemed to have been killed by Lin Dongqing. Night Devil Master, Gusu wants you to go directly to his residence. The servant said humbly. However, even though his tone was humble, Night Sorrow could still hear something from his words. He said coldly, "You want me to find him?" Gusu doesn't have that much face. Yes, master. Seeing that Night Sorrow was a little angry, the servant did not say anything and continued with his work. Night Sorrow entered the cultivation space to meet the chaotic heavenly crystal beast. At this moment, the chaotic heavenly crystal beast was absorbing some of the sea-calming divine iron that Night Sorrow had given it. It had no intention of coming out of seclusion. Night Sorrow didn't disturb him too much. After watching for a while, he left the cultivation space. Unexpectedly, just as he walked out of the cultivation space, Gusu's other figure appeared outside his residence. Night Demon, why don't you dare to meet me at my residence? Are you afraid that I'll kill you? After Gusu farewell appeared, he roared. Avoid meeting me. Afraid that you'll kill me? Where did your brain come from? Hearing Gusu farewell shout like this, Night Sorrow laughed instead of being angry. He felt that there was something wrong with this guy's brain. I don't believe that you haven't heard the news that the others have been defeated by me. Aren't Hasa Woman and Su Lei your people? How can you not know that they were defeated by me? My last challenge target is you. You should know that. You don't dare to meet me because you're afraid that I'll defeat you or even kill you. Gusu farewell said with a strange tone. You think too highly of yourself. Normally, I have a lot of things to do. How can I have the time to pay attention to a nobody like you? Night Sorrow said with a sneer. He originally had some sympathy for this Gusu farewell, but now he felt that a pitiful person must have something to hate. Ha! I've already blocked your way. What's the use of your sophistry? Hurry up and come out to fight. You don't live up to your title as the #1 person. Hand it over. As for Lin Dongqing, I'll be the one to challenge him. Gusu farewell looked at Night Sorrow with disdain. At this moment, he had just advanced to a middle heavenly sovereign, and his aura was uncontrollable. How arrogant! Let me see just how capable you are. Gusu farewell, who had advanced to a middle heavenly sovereign, was too arrogant. Night Sorrow didn't want to talk to him at all. This was because there was nothing to say to such a person who kept having delusions in his mind. There was only one way to make him shut up, and that was to beat him into submission. Good. I admire your courage. Since you dared to fight with me, I will treat you the same as I treated Hasa and Su Lei. I will spare your life. Gusu Farewell looked at Night Sorrow as he released his divine territory. I think your brain has been fried after advancing to a middle heavenly sovereign. Gusu Farewell's words didn't make much sense, but they still made Night Sorrow very unhappy. He replied and released his divine territory directly. He also activated the Trestrymsa battle secret technique, activated the Green Phoenix battle armor, and held the golden heavenly halberd in his hand. This halberd is not bad. I like it. It's like casting pearls before swine. Gusu Farewell said with a greedy look after scrutinizing Night Sorrow's golden heavenly halberd. He could sense that there was a half-step to the supreme realm in the golden heavenly halberd. Originally, I didn't want to kill you. However, there's no point in leaving your soul in this world. Freeze. Ice. Seal. King of all forests. With a loud roar, Night Sorrow continuously performed his ultimate skill. He had discovered the King of all forests from Lin Guangyin's ultimate skill. At this moment, he wanted to test it out by fighting with Gusu Farewell. He wanted to see if it was the same as Lin Guangyin's. At the same time, he wanted to test its effects and find out its shortcomings in the battle before improving it. King of all forests. You're the lackey of the Lin family. Go to hell. Gusu Farewell roared furiously when he saw Night Sorrow perform this move. This was because his elder brother had been killed by Lin Dongqing with this move. Then, like a wild beast, he used his ultimate skill to fight against the King of all forests Yishan's fierce tiger and were smashed into pieces. Lackey of the Lin family, I'll tear you apart today. After breaking the King of all forests move, Gusu Farewell performed the family's ultimate skill that he had comprehended after advancing to a middle heavenly sovereign at Night Sorrow. Dark Prison. In an instant, Night Sorrow realized that the surrounding void had turned dark. Chapter 32-32. This kind of darkness was like the end of the world, giving people an extremely uncomfortable feeling. Night Sorrow opened the sea serpent's eye and observed for a while, but he didn't see anything. He knew very well that he was trapped in another dark prison of Gusu, and had entered a small world that was completely dark and sunless. Restriction Breaking Hammer, come out and work. Night Sorrow immediately summoned the Restriction Breaking Hammer. At this moment, Little Seven volunteered, let us out too, maybe we can help. Okay. Come out. Night Sorrow replied and summoned the lower half of the Eternal Divine Tower from the Space Grotto Heaven. After Little 7, Little 8, and Little 9 came out, they sensed for a while and Little 8 said, we know a little about this space. There are two ways to break it. The first is to let the Restriction Breaking Hammer slowly break the array. The second is to use brute force to break it. As long as your strength surpasses Gusu B's outside, you can break it directly. There is such a thing. Restriction Breaking Hammer, how long do you two need to break this space in front of you? After communicating with Little 8, Night Sorrow asked the Restriction Breaking Hammer. If everything goes well, about 4 hours. The male hammer of the Restriction Breaking Hammer replied. 4 hours? That's too long. Who knows, Gusubi might use these 4 hours to set up an array outside or prepare some terrifying attack. This won't work, I'd better try to break the array with brute force. After saying that, Night Sorrow burned his bloodline power and attacked the barrier of the dark prison. After being attacked by Night Sorrow's attack, the barrier of the dark prison immediately shook violently. However, it wasn't destroyed because of this. As long as you are not strong enough, you can forget about leaving my dark prison. Just wait to be trapped inside and die. Gusubi said proudly when he saw that Night Sorrow's attack didn't break the dark prison. When he faced Su Lei and Whirling Woman, he didn't use this move. At this moment, when he was fighting Night Sorrow, he was completely enraged when he saw the King of 10,000 Forests. He immediately unleashed his strongest trump card to trap him within. Night Sorrow, the aura in this space can corrode a cultivator's Tao heart. He trapped you here to make you go crazy. Little 8 reminded Night Sorrow. He could already sense an evil aura coming from the depths of space. Although these auras were auras, they appeared in the space in the form of demons. The way they floated around was like a gray wandering soul. After they appeared, there was some light in the dark prison. Under the illumination of this light, these wandering souls floated towards Night Sorrow like ghosts. At this moment, Night Sorrow spoke, "Gusubi, is this the technique of your dark prison? It doesn't look like much. You're already at this level, and you're still so stubborn, you lackey of the Lin clan. Let's see how you'll die." Gusubi, who was controlling the dark prison, roared. Night Sorrow, who was facing countless wandering souls, released his power of virtue and purified all the evil spirits in front of him. Seeing Night Sorrow purify these things, Little 8 came to a realization and said, "That's right. You have the power of virtue, so you're not afraid of these ghosts. If I unleash my full strength now, I should be able to break the dark prison. But I want to see what other tricks he has up his sleeve." Controlling the dark prison required him to expend a great deal of energy. "I think it's beneficial for us if we continue to exhaust ourselves like this." Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Little 8. This was something that he suddenly understood. In the attack just now, he did not use any secret techniques or divine abilities, nor did he use the ancient coffin. He still had a lot of tricks up his sleeve. He did not use any of them because he was confident that he could get out of here. "So that's what you meant. I thought your strength was weaker than his." Little 8 immediately calmed down after hearing Night Sorrow's voice transmission. Night Sorrow said, "My cultivation level is definitely lower than him. But in terms of strength, I shouldn't be any weaker than him." "What did you use just now?" Gusubi, who was using his evil aura, shouted in shock when he realized that all the ghosts were purified. And when all these things were destroyed, his divine origin energy was greatly depleted. "It's something that will kill you." Night Sorrow replied and said sarcastically, "This is the attack of your dark prison. Isn't it a little too weak? If you don't have any other tricks up your sleeve, I'll break out of here." Shameless boasting. After being provoked by Yi Shang, Gusu instantly used her own consciousness to completely control the dark prison. He summoned a huge black hole in the void of the dark prison. After the black hole was summoned, a slender black dragon crawled out from it. This dragon looked very similar to the sea dragon in the Sea of Evil. However, it was surrounded by bad luck. "This is the unlucky dragon. Night Sorrow, be careful. Don't let it touch you. Otherwise, you will be unlucky." Little 8 immediately reminded when he saw the unlucky dragon appear. "Got it. This is similar to the whirling woman's descent of all evil. Looks like this Gusubi doesn't have any fighting ability. All he can summon are strange things. It's not interesting at all. Let's get out." After replying to Little 8, Yi Shang poured his power of virtue into the deity domain around him. When the merit power was almost poured in, he used the golden heavenly halberd to shoot out the god's spear. Although he burned his bloodline for the attack just now, he did not use any divine ability. Now, he is using his full strength. Boom! After Night Sorrow blasted out this attack, a hole immediately appeared in the dark prison. The unlucky dragon that was summoned also flew out of the dark prison. It started to circle in the void. "I didn't expect you to be able to come out and bring the unlucky dragon out." Seeing that Night Sorrow had successfully destroyed the dark prison, Gusubi said in shock. He then controlled the unlucky dragon to attack Night Sorrow. At the same time, he cooperated with the unlucky dragon to launch an attack. It looked like the unlucky dragon was the main force. However, Night Sorrow could clearly see that something was amiss. This Gusubi had not unleashed a very powerful frontal attack during their battle. Clearly, she wanted him to lower his guard. In fact, he must be preparing the most ferocious attack. "You want me to fall for your attack? You need to have absolute speed." Facing Gusubi and the unlucky dragon's attack, Night Sorrow did not panic at all. Above the void, he used the 9 steps of the Defiant of the Heavens to dodge and cast several words consecutively. He made them form the combination of break, defeat, and scatter. When these words were combined, they immediately flew towards Gusu and the unlucky dragon. Chapter 32-33. Your word formula is not bad. After I defeat you, I must obtain it. Gusu shouted with interest when he saw Knight Soro's 100-word formula. He then took out a feather fan. He activated the feather fan and attacked Knight Soro's word formula. After being attacked by the feather fan, the 100-word formula was immediately blocked. The unlucky dragon took the opportunity to spit out a mouthful of filthy air at Knight Soro. Knight Soro, quickly dodge. Don't let the air touch you. Seeing the unlucky dragon spitting filthy air at Knight Soro, 80 immediately reminded him. Don't worry. As long as it's in the form of a dragon, it won't be a threat to me. Knight Soro replied. He then used the Supreme Dragon Subduing Technique and summoned a huge Kuanpeng. After the Kuanpeng was summoned, it immediately grabbed the unlucky dragon and wanted to devour it. What kind of secret technique is this? Gusu frowned when he saw the Kuanpeng summoned by Knight Soro easily suppress the unlucky dragon. This is a secret technique that can defeat you. Knight Soro said. He then used his golden heavenly halberd to attack Gusu with the godly spear. He knew that Gusu had not used his full strength yet. Instead of waiting for him to use his full strength, he might as well make the first move. It's impossible for you to defeat me. I'm the strongest person in this batch. Facing Knight Soro's godly spear, Gusu floated the feather fan above his head and let it attack automatically. He then took out a 3-foot black sword and used a secret technique to block the godly spear. Boom! Gusu's secret technique was immediately destroyed when it clashed with the godly spear. Compared to the godly spear, his secret technique's attack power was obviously weaker. Gusu, on the other hand, was hit by the aftershock of the godly spear and suffered some light injuries. This was the result of his conceit and he did not dodge. I underestimated you. However, your attack is indeed not painful. I'm not wrong about this. Gusu, who was slightly injured, suddenly had a change in expression. Her expression became much more serious. He looked at the suppressed unlucky dragon and realized that it had no ability to fight back under the pressure of the Kuanpeng. It was about to be devoured. He was determined to take out some of his trump cards. He said coldly, I've prepared these things for Lin Dongqing. Since you're lucky enough to be able to endure it, it's a worthy death. Before Knight Soro's next attack came, he activated the armor on his body, causing the armor's black light to shine brightly as it charged with the power of ice. At the same time, he completely burned his own bloodline. After burning her strongest bloodline, Gusu's other eyes immediately turned blood red, making her look extremely eerie. He glanced at Knight Soro and growled, Destroy. Destroy. Gusu only had the word, destroy. Knight Soro didn't quite understand what was going on at first, but when he fully executed this move, Knight Soro was shocked. He realized that the intent of this move was too powerful. It had the kind of aura that could destroy everything. Could this be an ultimate move imparted by Destroy? When Gusu executed this move, everything in the void seemed to be annihilated in an instant. Knight Soro couldn't help but think of Supremacy Mia in the fog zone. However, after a moment of confusion, he recovered and said coldly, so what if this is Destroy's ultimate move? Didn't my movement technique also come from Supremacy Yen? Then, he executed the Defiant 9 steps to dodge. This time, Knight Soro's Defiant 9 steps exploded with even more power when it met Supremacy Mia's ultimate move. It was much more mysterious than before. Moreover, he formed countless word seals and divine essence trapping array in the void to block his opponent's ultimate move. Although Gusu's other attacks were sharp and powerful, they did not hit Knight Soro. How is this possible? When Destroy's move dissipated in the void, Gusu's face was filled with disbelief. He couldn't believe that Gusu's ultimate move, which had been passed down for countless years, was useless against Knight Soro. At this moment, Gusubi's mind was shaken. Because this move was indeed imparted to Gusubi's ancestor by Destroy. It was Gusubi's ultimate move that had been passed down for countless years. Nothing is impossible. Night Sorrow, who had dodged Gusubi's attack, felt that this move should be incomplete. It did not explode with the aura that Supremacy Mie's ultimate move should have. Compared to his Supreme Dragon subduing technique, it was much weaker. Eternal Divine Tower, prepare to attack. Gusubi has even used his family's ultimate move. He should be at his wit's end. We should end this battle. Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Little Seven and the others, asking them to prepare for the attack. He completely activated the Golden Heavenly Halberd and executed the mysterious Azure Divine Spear technique and the Defiant 9 steps to fight against Gusubi. Night Sorrow's close combat skills were obviously better than Gusubi's and he quickly suppressed him. Impossible. This is impossible. I am the strongest person in this year's competition. It is impossible for me to lose. But how could Supremacy Mie's ultimate move be broken by an ant? At this moment, Gusubi was still immersed in the disappointment of his ultimate move being broken. Destroy. This ultimate move was his obsession. He originally thought that after learning it, he would be invincible in the same realm and killing Lin Dongqing would be as easy as slaughtering a chicken. But reality slapped him in the face too quickly. Night Sorrow, who was at the level of a half-step Heavenly Supreme, had successfully neutralized it. In fact, Gusubi did not know that although his move was mysterious, Night Sorrow's Defiant 9 steps also came from Supremacy Mie. And after meeting Supremacy Mie's ultimate move, it exploded with even more power than before. Great job, Kuan Peng. At this moment, Night Sorrow saw the Kuan Peng summoned by the Supreme Dragon subduing technique devouring the unlucky dragon. He exclaimed and ordered, Kuan Peng, help me attack Gusubi. Then, he sent a voice transmission to Little Seven, are you ready to attack? I'm ready. I'm waiting for your order. I promised to give him a surprise. Little Seven immediately replied confidently. Very good. At this moment, attack directly. Night Sorrow sent a voice transmission and used the Golden Heavenly Halberd to shoot out the God's Spear again. However, this move was obviously a feint. After launching the feint, Night Sorrow blasted Gusubi with the Divine Origin Trap Array and the Freezing Ice Seal technique. At this moment, the Kuan Peng and the Eternal Divine Tower cooperated with him to attack. Under their combined attack, Gusubi, whose emotions were already unstable, was suddenly killed. You want to be the strongest person. Your temperament is not enough. After watching Gusubi slowly fall to the ground, Night Sorrow said and took out his spatial device. He wanted to find Annihilation's ultimate move and see if it was recorded in the spatial device. However, he had just obtained the spatial device and had not checked it yet. Above the void, two people flew over. Seeing the two of them, Night Sorrow smiled and said, the two of you, how are you? Chapter 32-34. Brother Night Devil, how have you been? I'm ashamed to say that the two of us lost to Gusubi first. Because of the bet, we had to avoid where he appeared. That's why we appeared. I hope you don't mind. Dancing Lady, who flew over first, explained and then congratulated, Brother Night Devil, your divine power is unparalleled. You're already worthy of being the number one person in this batch. Dancing Lady is deeply impressed. You're too polite. I was also lucky to defeat him. In terms of strength, we're about the same. Night Sorrow said humbly. In fact, if he fought with these people in front of him, the final winner would indeed be him. You're too humble. Your strength is indeed above us. At this moment, Su Lei also spoke. She was gradually convinced by Night Sorrow's combat strength. In the battle with Gusu, although she had tried her best, she had still lost. However, Night Sorrow who had defeated Gusu obviously still had strength left. This proved that the gap between Night Sorrow and her and Dancing Lady was getting bigger and bigger. When Night Sorrow advanced to the Heavenly Supreme level, the gap would be unimaginable. This was the gap in potential. No matter how hard they worked, they could not make up for it. Seeing that the two women were a little shocked, Night Sorrow comforted them, "We're all on the path of cultivation. If we don't reach the end, we don't have the qualifications to transcend. In the future, maybe one of us can advance to the supreme level. When that time comes, we'll talk about heroes over a cup of wine." What you said makes sense. Everyone has a chance. Hearing this, Dancing Lady immediately felt a little better. Geniuses who could enter the Lu Tian Academy were all proud and arrogant. Although she was not sure if she had the qualifications to advance to the supreme level, she was prepared to work hard. Sigh. What should I do? At this moment, Su Lei was a little nervous. She felt that if Night Sorrow could be successfully recruited by the organization she was in, it should be a great help. However, for a genius like Night Sorrow who had great ambitions and wanted to advance to the supreme level, it was not easy to control. Therefore, it was extremely difficult for the organization she was in to recruit Night Sorrow. This made her a little worried. A few days ago, that organization sent another 2 elders. These 2 people gave her a lot of pressure. She had lost the bet to Night Sorrow, so she wasn't sure if she should listen to the organization or Night Sorrow. His mind was in a mess. Su Lei, what happened to you? At this moment, Night Sorrow felt that Su Lei's emotions were a little unstable, so he immediately asked. It's nothing. I just suffered a bit of a blow. Su Lei smiled awkwardly. She was a little embarrassed to be seen through. At this time, Dancing Woman said, Night Demon. Actually, the reason why Su Lei and I rushed over this time, other than watching the battle between you and Gusu, is also to ask you to do something. You want me to do something for you? What's the matter? Night Sorrow asked curiously. It's like this. Recently, Su Lei and I heard some news. The Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill had appeared in an ancient site in the Killer Heaven battlefield. This Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill can not only help an earthly sovereign to advance to a heavenly sovereign, but it can also help a heavenly sovereign advance by a small realm. If Su Lei and I get it, we can advance to a middle heavenly sovereign. If you get it, you can advance to a heavenly sovereign. Are you interested in this matter? After Dancing Woman finished speaking, she looked at Night Sorrow with an expectant gaze. She knew that it was impossible for her and Su Lei to get the Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill. If Night Sorrow were to help, the success rate would be greatly increased. Of course I'm interested in a pill that can advance to a heavenly sovereign. Tell me more about it. After Night Sorrow heard Dancing Woman's words, he immediately became very interested. To him, what he needed most was to advance to a higher realm. Naturally, he would not miss out on a miracle pill like the Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill. It's like this. A few days ago, in the Killer Heaven battlefield, someone coincidentally stumbled into an ancient site. Not long after that, he advanced from a middle heavenly sovereign to an upper heavenly sovereign. Dancing Woman smiled and said, after that, he entered the ancient site again and found another Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill. However, he realized that the second pill had no effect at all. Hence, he auctioned off the 2 Sovereign Heaven Origin Pills that he found in the 3rd entry at the Academy's auction house and obtained a large amount of resources. This matter was then exposed. As the saying goes, there's no such thing as an airtight wall in the world. Come to think of it, that cultivator was too eager for quick success and instant benefits. Night Sorrow agreed and asked, if that's the case, have the 2 of you found the entrance to the ancient site? Of course. But now, there are many students who know about the ancient site. Many of them are from previous batches and are very powerful. If we go, it's still very risky. Dancing Woman continued. She and Su Lei knew that even with Night Sorrow's participation, the risk was still very high. After all, they were all new students in Lu Tian Academy and did not have an advantage in terms of strength. At this time, Su Lei said, although this matter is very dangerous, we can't refuse the Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill. We can't refuse it, but others can't refuse it either. Hence, the competition inside will be very intense. If we go, we must be prepared. Wait a moment, I'll ask Elder Su about this. Night Sorrow agreed with Su Lei. He could not refuse the Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill. But he also understood the danger of this trip. At this point, Yi Shang contacted Elder Su via voice transmission. Night Demon, is there anything you need this elder to help you with? Elder Su, who received the telepathy, quickly replied. Elder Su, it's like this. My friend and I recently heard about the Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill. Do you have a certain understanding of this matter? Brother Yi went straight to the point. This matter has already spread like wildfire in Lu Tian Academy. Of course, I've heard about it. Elder Su replied with a smile. He then asked, why? Night Demon, are you interested in the Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill? The Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill can help me become a heavenly sovereign. Of course, I'm interested. Night Sorrow replied. That's true. It's not just you. Now, the students in Lu Tian Academy, especially the lower heavenly sovereigns and middle heavenly sovereigns, have all gone crazy because of the Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill. As for the upper heavenly sovereigns, they can't use the Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill to become a heavenly sovereign. Hence, they are less enthusiastic about it. However, there are still a few who will go to the ancient site to see if there are other opportunities. If you go, you must pay attention to these upper heavenly sovereigns. Elder Su said in a serious tone. Everyone knew that Lu Tian Academy did not prohibit students from killing each other. Especially in the Lu Tian battlefield. Hence, if Night Sorrow went to the ancient site, it would be very dangerous. Chapter 32-35. Elder. Night Demon knows the danger of going to the ancient ruins. Can you tell me about the stronger heavenly sovereigns? If I encounter them, I can more or less understand. Also, there are other things to pay attention to. Of course, Night Demon won't mistreat you. If I get a Supreme Heaven Yuan pill, I'll give you one. Yi Shang knew that elders were not allowed to enter the battleground of the Killer Heaven. It was not easy for Elder Su to get a Supreme Heaven Yuan pill. This meant that he was cooperating with him. Ha, Night Demon, you're too polite. The Supreme Heaven Yuan pill doesn't matter. I'll tell you everything I know. Let's talk face to face. Not long after he finished speaking, Elder Su arrived at Yi Shang's residence. He explained the situation of the ancient ruins in detail to him, Su Lei, and Hassa, as well as some of the main experts. After saying all this, Elder Su specially instructed, Night Demon. You must pay attention to Lin Dongqing. Lin Dongqing's strength has increased greatly recently. It seems that he has obtained something from his family. If you encounter him, try to avoid him. Okay. Elder Su, I understand. We will try our best to get the Supreme Heaven Yuan pill and help you advance to Upper Heavenly Sovereign. After Elder Su finished instructing, Night Sorrow promised. Ha! If you have extra, you can gift one to this elder. That's fine too. But if you don't have enough, I'll forget about it. Before you go, make some preparations. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave. Elder Su looked at Yi Shang, Su Lei, and Dancing Woman, and said, the three of you formed a team, and your talents are excellent. But your strength is limited, so you must not act rashly. It's best if you travel at night and don't clash with others. Goodbye. Elder Su, take care. After Night Sorrow sent Elder Su away, he looked at Su Lei and Hassa and said, it's very dangerous this time. I'll check Gusu's other spatial artifacts first. I'll see if I can find anything. I also need to refine some talismans. Wait for me here. Okay. I'll refine some pills and jade talismans too. Su Lei looked at Night Sorrow and said, then walked into the alchemy room. Whirling Woman was the same. They both knew how dangerous the trip to the ancient ruins was. After separating from the two women, Night Sorrow entered the cultivation room and removed the restrictions on Gusu's other spatial artifacts. After investigating, he found that the ultimate technique named Annihilation was indeed inside. As for the other items, they were of no value to Night Sorrow. Thus, Night Sorrow concentrated on comprehending this secret art called annihilation. It was recorded on a piece of beast skin. This seems to be an incomplete version. Observing with the sea serpent's eye and sensing with the power of his soul, Night Sorrow discovered that the ultimate technique in front of him was obviously incomplete. He thought to himself, Gusu is already so strong when she executes the incomplete version. How strong would the complete version be? Night Sorrow, if I'm not wrong, the beast skin in your hand has runes on it. As Night Sorrow was studying the beast hide, the male hammer of the forbidden breaking hammers suddenly spoke. Oh. There are runes. Why didn't I notice it? After the male hammer of the forbidden breaking hammers finished speaking, Night Sorrow asked in confusion. He had already opened the sea serpent's eye, but he couldn't see the runes at all. You can't see it because this kind of rune is very mysterious. You can't see it at all, you can only sense it. The female hammer and I are very sensitive to the runes, so we can sense it. The male hammer explained and continued, do you need the two of us to break the runes on it? If you can break it, it will be good. You can try. When Night Sorrow heard the male hammer's words, he was pleasantly surprised. He had a premonition that what was hidden under the runes was very likely the complete version of annihilation. All right. Leave it to us. The male hammer said and flew out with the female hammer. They transformed into human form and studied the beast skin in front of them. This beast skin is very impressive. But I can't tell what kind of divine beast it came from. After observing it for a while, the female hammer said. The beast skin is impressive, but it proves that the item might be even more impressive. You can do it. After Night Sorrow said that, he stood to the side and stopped talking. The male hammer and female hammer of the forbidden breaking hammers tried their best to break it. They enjoyed breaking the runes like this. However, Night Sorrow felt that it was a little boring, so he continued to study the 100-word mantra in the cultivation room. In the blink of an eye, 10 years had passed in the cultivation room. And the number of mantra words that Night Sorrow had mastered had reached a total of 30. Just as he was about to comprehend the 31st word, the male hammer said, Night Sorrow. We have broken the runes on the beast skin. You can take a look. Good. Thank you for your hard work. After Yi Shang said this, he looked at the beast skin that had already been unsealed. After observing for a while, he smiled and said, Good. Very good. This is the complete version of annihilation. So this ultimate skill is called destruction of heaven and earth. It is mainly used to enhance ultimate skills and divine abilities. After studying it for a while, Night Sorrow found that the ultimate skill of destruction of heaven and earth could be used to enhance other ultimate skills and divine abilities. It could improve their aura qualitatively and use it like Gusabi, but that was not its real purpose. Its power was very limited. It's just as you said. Then this ultimate skill of annihilation cannot be simply called an ultimate skill. It is equivalent to a divine ability that he has comprehended. This annihilation is really not simple. Hearing this, Little Seven immediately said. If it was simple, it would be impossible for him to always stand at the peak of the eternal supreme world in the fog area. Yi Shang also sighed in admiration and comprehended the destruction of heaven and earth. After comprehending it, he found that this move could not only enhance ultimate skills and divine abilities, but also affect the cultivator himself. It could allow the cultivator to erupt with great power in a short period of time. This is really good stuff. After learning destruction of heaven and earth, I should be able to compete with ordinary upper heavenly sovereigns. As for those monstrous geniuses in the academy, I still have to fight to know. Night Sorrow was in high spirits. Then, he refined a lot of elixirs and talismans. After coming out of seclusion, he sent a voice transmission to the two women. How are your preparations? According to the time in the real world, only about a year had passed. A year's time would not affect the exploration of the ancient ruins. Therefore, Dancing Lady and Su Lei were not in a hurry. Hearing Night Sorrow's voice transmission, the two of them appeared almost at the same time. Dancing Lady asked, Night Devil, how is your harvest? Very big. The success rate this time has also increased a lot. Night Sorrow said with certainty. Now that he had mastered 3 ultimate skills of Supreme Sovereigns, his combat power had increased significantly. With your words, we are relieved. Then shall we set off immediately? Only the 3 of us will go. Su Lei looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Yes, just the 3 of us. Because of the Academy's restrictions, my friends can't enter the battlefield. Let's go. Night Sorrow nodded and said. Then, the 3 of them entered the battlefield together. Chapter 32-36. As soon as the 3 of them entered the battlefield, a strong murderous aura hit them in the face. Night Sorrow, who had already been here, quickly reminded them, release your divine territory to block this aura. In addition, there are countless illusions in the battlefield. If you happen to enter, you need to complete the corresponding checkpoints to successfully leave. When you came in, what checkpoints did you encounter? Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Dancing Lady knew that he had experienced it personally, so she asked to get some useful information. Night Sorrow recalled and said, at that time, I encountered a few checkpoints. The most special one should be a martial arts competition for a spouse. I accepted the challenge on the stage. If I lost, I might stay in the illusion forever. There's such an illusion. Our trip will definitely be very difficult. Su Lei looked at the broken walls and ruins that were not very stable. Looking into the distance, it was a bleak desolation, but it contained endless danger. This made her a little nervous. After all, she and Dancing Lady were the best in this batch, but compared to the old students, they were not enough. Don't be afraid, if the situation is not right. All of you, enter my space grotto heaven immediately. Night Sorrow looked at Su Lei and comforted her. Then on this trip, Brother Night Demon, please take care of us. Dancing Lady cupped her hands and bowed to Night Sorrow, then looked into the distance and said, you can't catch a tiger cub without entering the tiger's den. Let's go. She was very determined. Okay. Dancing Lady, you have good eyesight, pay more attention to the front, I'll guard the back. Night Sorrow said and opened the sea serpent's eye to observe the situation around them. As for Dancing Lady, she was responsible for finding the way. According to the map provided by Elder Su, they went all the way to the ancient ruins. In the first few hours, the 3 of them went very smoothly. They only encountered a few gusts of wind and easily avoided them. However, from the edge of the area, they gradually entered the edge of the central area and immediately encountered a group of Yin soldiers. They entered the illusion. The 3 of them fought in the battlefield for 7 days and 7 nights before they successfully killed a bloody path and left the illusion. After killing their way out of the battlefield, Su Lei sighed and said, Brother, ye did not exaggerate. This illusionary realm was indeed dangerous. I wonder if I can avoid this illusion. If we encounter it a few more times, I'm afraid we won't be able to withstand it. I really don't know how to avoid this thing. Night Sorrow shook his head and said. He had no way of avoiding the illusion here. Dancing Woman also shook her head and said, although my eyes are special, I can't see where the illusion is. We can only rely on our luck. All right then. Let's continue forward and deal with whatever comes our way. Su Lei said with a frown. In fact, the Killer Heaven battlefield was not the only thing that gave her pressure. The 2 elders hidden in her space had been discussing how to deal with Night Sorrow. This made him extremely conflicted. I will do my best to protect you. Seeing Su Lei's complicated emotions, Night Sorrow comforted him. He continued, Whirl, continue to watch the road. To him, Dancing Woman and Su Lei could not be of much help. However, this information was provided by the 2 of them, so he was more grateful. There is a rift valley in front, which is not marked on Elder Su's map. Should we fly over the rift valley or go around it? I can't see the rift valley clearly. I don't know if there is any danger in it. After flying for a while, Dancing Woman, who was leading the way, suddenly stopped. In front of them was a rift valley covered in black mist. Dancing Woman could see through the mist on the surface and found that there was a rift valley below, but she could not see what was in the rift valley at all. She was afraid that there was some danger in it. "Let me see." Hearing this, Knight Sorrow used the sea serpent's eye to look at the rift valley, but he could not see what was inside. He released the power of his divine soul, but he could not sense what was inside. The power of his divine soul was completely blocked by the rift valley. The rift valley in front is not on Elder Su's map at all. Let's go around it, in case we encounter any danger. After thinking for a while, Knight Sorrow said. At this time, Su Lei's expression changed slightly and he said, "The two of you. If I'm not wrong, we have entered an illusion now. The rift valley in front of us is very likely the checkpoint we need to break through. It's really possible. If there is this rift valley in the battlefield of the Slayer of Heaven, Elder Su's map will definitely mark it. We might have been tricked again." Dancing Woman looked at the map carefully and said helplessly. "Yes. Su Lei's judgment should be right. Let's go through the rift valley." Knight Sorrow observed the surrounding environment and felt that Su Lei's judgment was very likely correct. So he said. Then, he landed on the ground with the two women and walked through the entrance of the rift valley. As soon as they walked into the rift valley, they were sure that the three of them had indeed entered an illusion. Because when they entered the rift valley, they immediately saw a large number of walking creatures. These creatures all looked like walking corpses, and their numbers were extremely large. They should be dead cultivators or battle pets. They wandered aimlessly in the rift valley. The three of them wanted to turn back, but they found that there was no way back at all. The way into the rift valley had been blocked. Since there's no way back, let's kill our way in. Just like the illusion just now, as long as we pass, we can get a reward. We can take it to increase our strength. Let's kill. Knight Sorrow found that there was no way out. He took out the golden heavenly halberd and activated the green phoenix armor. Dancing Woman heard Knight Sorrow's words and also said, "Then let's kill." Kill. Su Lei, who was originally a little nervous, had no energy to think about other things at this time. He took out a short sword and followed behind Knight Sorrow, rushing toward the wandering walking corpses. As the battle began, Knight Sorrow soon found that the walking corpses in front of them did not have much combat power at all. The three of them fought until the sky was dark, but the battle was very easy. They were not threatened at all, and they did not suffer any injuries. He immediately said, "It shouldn't be so easy to break through such a large-scale illusion. Don't be careless. I also feel that it's a little strange. But since they don't have the ability to stop us, let's continue forward." Dancing Woman shouted and took the lead to charge into the depths of the Rift Valley. However, until they reached the end of the Rift Valley, they could already see the location of the exit, but they still did not encounter much resistance. Knight Sorrow said doubtfully, "That's not right. This Rift Valley can't be passed so easily. Let's stop. Don't rush toward the exit." Although he could not see what was at the exit, he knew that it was so simple ahead, which meant that there must be great danger waiting for them. Chapter 32-37. They're here. As soon as Knight Sorrow finished speaking, Dancing Lady looked at the exit of the Rift Valley with a solemn expression. "What's here?" Su Lei asked nervously. "Master. The problem we need to solve. There are 3 of them. They are very strong, we have to be careful." After saying that, Hasa Woman completely released her divine realm. She burned her bloodline power and performed the 1,000 illusion eyes. She was ready to fight with her life on the line. They are indeed very strong. 1 upper heavenly supreme and 2 middle heavenly sovereigns. I'll deal with the upper heavenly supreme. As for the other 2, each of you will take 1. After a while, when the enemies were close, Knight Sorrow had already seen their figures. They were 3 corpse kings that looked similar to ordinary cultivators. Although these three corpse kings looked similar to Night Sorrow on the surface, they appeared to be male cultivators with delicate features. However, their bodies emitted a strong corpse aura. The corpse aura was thousands of times stronger than the aura of the battlefield of the killer heaven, and it was mixed with a strong stench. Night Sorrow, who was investigating, felt very uncomfortable. At this moment, Su Lei also noticed the three corpse kings in front of her. Compared to the panic when she entered the battlefield of the killer heaven, she had regained her usual calmness. She said sternly, "I'll deal with the one on the right." Dancing Lady said, "In my opinion, it's better for us to choose a group battle. After all, we have practiced joint attack techniques and joint attack formations. They definitely won't. That's our advantage." That works too. Night Sorrow, who had been prepared to directly attack the upper heavenly supreme corpse kings, heard Dancing Lady's words and immediately felt that it made sense. Therefore, he did not pull away from the two women. Under the suppression of Dancing Lady's thousand illusion eyes, Night Sorrow directly shot out the Roaring Flames demon-subduing spear. It bombarded the three corpse kings. The Roaring Flames demon-subduing spear looked very beautiful, but it was not very powerful. It was Night Sorrow's test of the three corpse kings. After the flames burned the sky, the three corpse kings, who were originally dressed in ordinary clothes, immediately had black battle armor on their bodies. It was unknown what material this battle armor was made of. When the flames burned on it, it was directly absorbed. At this moment, the upper heavenly sovereign corpse king in the middle said coldly, "I'll give the three of you a chance. Stay here forever and pledge your loyalty to us. Otherwise, your soul will be destroyed. Swear allegiance to you corpse kings. Will I become a corpse like you?" Yi Shan laughed coldly and said, "I'm not interested. Let's fight. You two lower heavenly sovereigns and a half-step heavenly sovereign aren't qualified for me to take action." Upon hearing Night Sorrow's words, the upper heavenly sovereign corpse king in the middle said disdainfully, "You two, quickly kill the three of them. This emperor will support you. You're just a corpse. How dare you be so arrogant?" After the strongest corpse king finished speaking, he stepped back to watch the battle, which made Dancing Woman unhappy. Su Lei was also enraged. Without saying a word, she stabbed her sword towards one of the corpse kings. Her sword carried a trace of the aura of an emperor. After stabbing out, a dragon's roar was heard. "If this king is not mistaken, you should have been an emperor." "Very good." Seeing that Su Lei's attack contained a dragon's roar and a weak aura of an emperor, the corpse king that was attacked by her. After saying this hoarsely, it grabbed at Su Lei's sword with its cracked claws. Although Su Lei's sword was extremely fast, it was still caught by the corpse king and was broken. What a strong strength! Seeing that Su Lei's divine weapon was broken, Night Sorrow murmured. He waved his golden heavenly halberd and attacked with the divine spear. At this moment, he did not activate the Trestrimsa battle secret technique, nor did he use the Annihilation Absolute Art. However, it was still much stronger than Su Lei's attack. Facing this attack, the corpse king that was attacked still used its claws to scratch, but it was stabbed and green blood flowed out. This green blood contained a large number of corpse worms. As the blood flowed out, these corpse worms all flew out and attacked Night Sorrow. It looked very disgusting. On the other side, Dancing Woman was fighting with another corpse king. Seeing that Dancing Woman was in a tight spot, Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Su Lei, "The two of you fight the other corpse king together. Leave the one in front to me. To deal with the two in front of us, we don't need to use the combined attack technique. Leave the combined attack technique to the last corpse emperor." "All right. I'll go and help." Hearing Night Sorrow's transmission, Su Lei immediately went to help Dancing Woman. Night Sorrow faced the corpse king and the large number of corpse worms alone. "You're not bad. An Earth Sovereign can actually hurt this king. After this king kills you, he will refine you into the most perfect corpse demon." The corpse king roared hoarsely and rushed towards Night Sorrow with the corpse worms that filled the sky. He chose close combat, which was also his forte. Shameless boasting. After being killed, you can only live in the illusion. Where did you get your confidence from? In the face of the corpse king's provocation, Knight Sorrow replied disdainfully and used the Qingxian godly spear technique to fight with him. After using the Qingxian godly spear technique, he quickly gained the upper hand. But the corpse king in front of him, after completely exploding, had a shocking defensive power. Although he was able to beat it back, he couldn't hurt it at all. As for the corpse worms that filled the sky, they couldn't break Knight Sorrow's protective divine domain at all, so they were no threat. You're also very confident, but your attacks don't have much power. You can't hurt this king at all. If you continue like this, you'll definitely die from exhaustion. The corpse king, who had raised his defensive power to the strongest, noticed that Su Lei and dancing woman couldn't suppress the other corpse king and immediately roared confidently. You're thinking too much. Destroy the heavens and earth. In the face of the corpse king's provocation, Knight Sorrow smiled coldly. At this moment, he didn't activate any state, nor did he use his most powerful attack. After thinking for a while, he decided to test out Annihilation's unique skill, Destroy the Heavens and Earth. After learning this move, he hadn't used it in actual combat, so he didn't know how effective it was. After responding to the corpse king in front of him, he used it. When the complete version of Destroy the Heavens and Earth was used, Knight Sorrow immediately felt his whole body go crazy. A thought of destroying the world rose in his heart. Not long after, he went completely crazy and attacked the corpse king with incomparable frenzy, almost unable to control his mind. Let him be. Let's see how crazy this Destroy the Heavens and Earth can be. Knight Sorrow knew that this wasn't good for him. Logically speaking, he should use the power of merit to alleviate it. But he wanted to know how far Destroy the Heavens and Earth could go, so he didn't control himself and fought crazily. After being controlled by Destroy the Heavens and Earth, he used the 9 steps of the Defiant Heavens and the Qingxian Godly Spear technique. His attack speed and strength increased by more than 10 times. He became very powerful and soon completely suppressed the corpse king in front of him. Chapter 32-38. Strong. Indeed very strong. It's just that it's easy to lose yourself in the crazy attacks. After suppressing the corpse king, Knight Sorrow's speed and attack strength continued to increase. Gradually, Knight Sorrow discovered that there was no end to this increase. If he was willing, he could increase it to a state where he couldn't withstand it and directly explode. This was naturally not what he wanted to see. Thus, he secretly used the power of virtue to slow down the momentum, stabilizing the speed and attack strength at around 30 times. On the surface, this looked similar to the 33 Heavens battle secret technique. In fact, Knight Sorrow was also supported by the potential battle intent of Armageddon. Thus, the two were not on the same level. And the corpse king, who was continuously attacked by Knight Sorrow, was soon beaten to the point where he couldn't fight back. He couldn't help but cry for help, Emperor, save me. I'm not his match. If you're not his match, then accept the fate of being killed. The corpse emperor said coldly to the corpse king's cry for help. He had no intention of helping at all. It seems that the setting is to first kill the 2 corpse kings and then kill the strongest corpse emperor. This is something that the corpse emperor in front of us can't change. If the 3 of them attack together, it's really difficult for us to deal with them. After the corpse emperor spoke, Knight Sorrow immediately understood what was going on. In the situation where the victory was already decided, he transmitted to Su Lei and Dancing Woman, who also had the advantage, and said, "Don't be in a hurry to kill them. Try to recover as much divine origin power as possible. I think that if we kill these 2 in front of us, we'll definitely fight with the corpse emperor." "Alright. We're afraid that the corpse emperor will come out to help, so we're going all out." Dancing Woman, who was also excited to kill, only now noticed that Knight Sorrow had already beaten the corpse king in front of them to a pulp. After that, he had the ability to kill, but he didn't use his ultimate skill. Then, together with Su Lei, she swallowed a medicinal dan to recover. When the three of them killed the two corpse kings in front of them, they had basically recovered to their peak state. Only he suffered a trace of backlash from Armageddon, and the negative emotions in his heart were unceasing. He had the feeling of wanting to destroy the world. But this kind of emotion, he quickly suppressed it with the power of virtue. Xiaofan thought to himself, if I don't have the power of beneficence and recklessly use destruction of heaven and earth, I'll probably go crazy sooner or later. The three of you killed two of this emperor's servants. Prepare to accept this emperor's punishment. At this moment, the corpse emperor slowly flew over and roared sternly. Only we can punish you, you don't have the chance to punish us. Facing the strongest corpse emperor in the Rift Valley, Knight Sorrow immediately activated the Trestrimsa battle technique and the Azure Phoenix battle armor. He understood that the corpse emperor in front of him was definitely much stronger than the two corpse kings combined. He transmitted his voice to the two girls, unleash your strongest attacks, and use a combined attack. Alright. Su Lei responded and immediately transformed into Wuxia. They soared into the sky. Whirling Woman withdrew her 1,000 illusion eyes. He gathered his energy and unleashed Descent of All Evils at the corpse emperor. What kind of move is this? Seeing that Hasa Woman was using all evil, the zombie emperor, who had been standing still, immediately appeared behind Hasa Woman in a flash. However, the dancing woman's Descent of All Evils didn't even have time to react before it slammed into the ground of the Rift Valley. Be careful, Hasa. Seeing that the corpse emperor had appeared behind Hasa Woman, he wanted to destroy her. Knight Sorrow immediately used the divine finger. Because at this moment, he didn't even have the chance to use the divine spear. Facing the attack of the divine finger, the corpse emperor gave up the idea of attacking Hasa Woman and used his movement technique to dodge again. At this moment, Su Lei was spitting out flames in a large area below. However, the corpse emperor was too fast, even the flames that filled the sky were easily dodged. Seeing his performance, Hasa Woman frowned and said, Night Demon. Su Lei and I can't keep up with the corpse emperor's speed at all, we can't attack him. It's up to you. If you can't attack him, then we definitely can't break out. This corpse emperor is indeed not ordinary. Although he hasn't attacked yet, his attack power is definitely not weak. How about this, you and Su Lei enter my space grotto heaven. Watch my battle with the corpse emperor. Knight Sorrow could use the sea serpent's eye to observe that the corpse emperor was not simple. He could easily dodge Su Lei and Hasa Woman's attacks, and he had a lot of room to spare. Even if Su Lei and Hasa Woman's speed increased by 10 times, it shouldn't have much effect. Under such circumstances, Knight Sorrow directly kept them in his space grotto heaven. Keeping them in the grotto heaven was also to conceal the existence of the power of merit. Then, he activated the destruction of heaven and earth and burned his bloodline power, and activated the power of merit. He raised his strength to the strongest state in his life and continuously used the 12-word formula, together with the divine origin trap array and the power of merit trap array, to control the corpse emperor's speed. Then, he used the supreme dragon subduing technique, summoned the Kuanpeng, and let it feign an attack. He held the golden heavenly halberd and used the Qingxian divine spear technique to attack the corpse emperor. The golden heavenly halberd even turned golden due to the purification of the power of merit. Impossible. You are just an earth sovereign, how can you burst out with such speed? Your speed can already surpass 90% of upper heavenly sovereigns. Under the support of the destruction of heaven and earth and the Trestrimsa battle secret technique, Knight Sorrow's speed had completely surpassed the corpse emperor, who was affected by the word formula and the trap array. Under such circumstances, the corpse emperor, who was forced to fight Knight Sorrow head-on, said in disbelief. Nothing is impossible, only you haven't seen it before. Knight Sorrow replied coldly. After fighting for a while, he realized that the golden heavenly halberd was almost unable to hurt the corpse emperor. Thus, he summoned the ancient coffin from the space. He smashed the corpse emperor fiercely. After being smashed by the ancient coffin, how could the corpse emperor withstand it? Soon, he was smashed into ashes. After completely killing him, Night Sorrow and the golden heavenly halberd absorbed the aura of the ancient coffin again and turned into the appearance of the cultivators in the foggy area. Only then did he summon Su Lei and Hasa woman. He divided the rewards equally between the two of them and said, "This is the reward, we each have a portion." He didn't leave any for himself. The battle that Su Lei and Hasa woman saw in the grotto heaven just now wasn't real. But in general, it was similar to a real battle. They knew that Night Sorrow's victory didn't come easily. They said in unison, "We didn't help much in this battle. You should take the reward yourself." "No need. My cultivation has already stagnated at the peak of Earth Sovereign. Taking these rewards won't have any effect at all. It's better for the two of you to take them," Night Sorrow said unquestionably. Then, he looked at the surrounding environment and said, "Now that we have left the Rift Valley, I have suffered a great backlash and need some time to recover. I will set up a concealment array and recover here. When I recover, we will continue to move towards the ancient ruins." Chapter 32-39. The recoil brought by the destruction of heaven and earth would affect one's emotions, divine soul, and body. In the process of battle, Night Sorrow was suppressing his negative emotions. After setting up the concealment array, he sat cross-legged on the ground and used the power of merit to secretly repair the effects on his divine soul and body. Seeing Night Sorrow sit down quietly, Su Lei said gratefully, "No matter what, this time, I have to thank you. I'll protect you." Although Dancing Lady did not say anything, she opened her eyes and carefully observed the surroundings. To prevent the enemy from attacking. In this battlefield, the most terrifying enemy was not the illusion, but the other people of Lu Tian Academy. These people were both geniuses and murderous maniacs. If they encountered weak or injured people, they would definitely kill them mercilessly. After being on guard for an hour and not finding any traces of the enemy, Dancing Lady was a little tired and temporarily put away her vigilant eyes. Looking at Su Lei, she said, "Su Lei, I used too much energy during the battle. Now that I've been on guard for so long, I can't hold on any longer. I also need to rest for a while. You can protect us." "Okay, I'll protect you. But I don't have special eyes, so the range of my vigilance is limited," Su Lei responded and then explained. Hearing this, Dancing Lady smiled and said, "It should be fine. After all, I was on guard for an hour and didn't find anything. Besides, I'll be able to recover soon." "Okay. Hurry up and recover. Night Devil is our savior, we still need to be on guard for him." Su Lei nodded and said. Dancing Lady was relieved to recover. At this moment, an elder in Su Lei's space cave said, "Su Lei. Right now, Night Devil and Dancing Lady are not in good condition. It's a good opportunity for us to control them and force them to obey the organization. Let us out." "Elder. Night Sorrow just saved my life. I can't harm him." Hearing this elder's words, Su Lei immediately refused. She was loyal to the organization, but she felt that she could not do such an ungrateful thing. "Su Lei. Have you forgotten who helped you and avenged you when your dynasty was destroyed and your family was slaughtered?" After Su Lei responded, the elder named Leng Tu continued. "Elder. Su Lei was not an ungrateful person. However, the night demon had just saved me, and I had attacked him. This was repaying kindness with enmity. Besides, the two of you might not be a match for him." Su Lei continued to respond. Hearing this, Leng Tu immediately exploded with rage and said, "Bastard. Right now, the night demon and the whirling woman are recovering. They are not on guard against you at all. If the three of us launch a sneak attack at the same time, they'll definitely suffer heavy injuries. At that time, they'll be at our mercy. Elder Leng Tu, I once lost to the night demon in a bet. I swore that if I were to harm him, I would immediately suffer the wrath of the heavens. If he were to attack it now, he would immediately be struck by the heavenly Tao. Is the organization willing to sacrifice me for the night demon?" At this moment, Su Lei said word by word. To the organization, the night demon's value is thousands of times greater than yours. Sacrificing you is nothing. Don't forget the oath you made when you joined us. Do it. Leng Tu said word by word. I, Su Lei, once made a vow to the heavenly Tao. If the organization doesn't let me down, I will never betray the organization. I will follow all the organization's orders. But what you're saying now, are you worthy of me? Let me tell you, from today onwards, Su Lei will withdraw from your nameless and cold-blooded organization. Su Lei said coldly. At this moment, although he did not make any movements, a strong murderous aura exploded from his body. Su Lei, how dare you choose to betray us? You're courting death. Leng Tu, who was in Su Lei's space cave, roared loudly. He took out a hairpin and silently chanted a spell. After Leng Tu silently chanted the spell, Su Lei immediately covered his head and fell to the ground, wailing in pain. Humph. Do you think that just because we're in your space cave, we'll be suppressed by you? Dream on. When you joined the organization, we already did something to you. This jade hairpin spell can take your life. Don't make a fuss and let us out quickly. After Su Lei fell to the ground and wailed, Leng Tu immediately threatened. They knew that if things were delayed for a little while, Night Sorrow and the whirling woman would have a chance to recover. Even if I die, I won't let you out. If you have the ability, kill me. At this moment, Su Lei was in so much pain that sweat flowed down his forehead. He looked like a woman in labor. This was immediately noticed by Night Sorrow. He immediately transmitted his voice, Su Lei, what's wrong? The two elders of the organization behind me wanted to come out of my space cave to deal with you while you were recovering. I didn't want to, so they used the jade hairpin spell to deal with me. Now, I beg you one thing. After I die, absorb my bloodline. Don't let the bloodline of Wuxia be lost. Su Lei, whose forehead was full of sweat, had the ability to transmit his voice. However, he did not have the ability to deal with Leng Tu and Xiao Ning in the space cave. He felt that he would definitely die. At this moment, Night Sorrow transmitted his voice again, no matter who is in your space cave, let them out first. I have the ability to deal with them. He cultivated the power of merit and could tell that Su Lei was not lying. He was somewhat touched. He felt that it was good that he did not get the heart of a wolf for treating Su Lei and the whirling woman sincerely. But the two of them are very strong. They are both middle heavenly sovereigns, close to upper heavenly sovereigns. Su Lei reminded him worriedly. In her interactions with Night Sorrow and the whirling woman, she felt that they were friends. That was something she did not have in the organization. Her temperament had changed greatly, and she did not want to hurt the two of them. Don't worry. Didn't the Corpse Emperor, an upper heavenly sovereign in the illusion, die at my hands? Two middle heavenly sovereigns are nothing. Night Sorrow said confidently. Then, he continued, besides, whirling woman is ready now. We have a good chance of winning. You don't have to fight to the death with them. All right then. Even if I have to fight to the death, I will make sure that they hurt the two of you. Seeing that Night Sorrow was so determined, Su Lei transmitted his voice to Leng Tu, don't torture me anymore. I'll let you out. I'll let you out. Humph. Bitch. If you knew this would happen, you wouldn't have done it in the first place. After getting an affirmative answer, Leng Tu scolded disdainfully. Xiao Ning transmitted her voice, Leng Tu, it's not good to fall out with her like this. In the future, we will have one less pawn in the Killer Heaven Academy. Don't worry. She's not the only pawn. One of our pawns is in the Killer Heaven battlefield now. When we get out, we'll send him a message and summon him. As long as we can make the Night Demon and the Whirling Woman submit, losing Su Lei is nothing, Leng Tu said maliciously. Chapter 3240. What you said makes sense. The Night Demon's value is far greater than Su Lei's. This is worth taking a gamble on. When will Bing Han arrive? Xiao Ning immediately asked after hearing Leng Tu's words. Bing Han was one of their organization's pawns in Lu Tian Academy. He had entered Lu Tian Academy 2 batches earlier than Night Sorrow. He was now a middle heavenly sovereign, but his strength was similar to an ordinary upper heavenly sovereign. He was the 4th genius in their batch. Bitch, what are you waiting for? Let us out. Leng Tu shouted angrily when Su Lei still did not let the two of them out. I'll let you out. I'll let you out now. Su Lei pretended to be weak and said. He then let Leng Tu and Zhao Ning out of his space hollow. Let's attack the night demon together. As long as we control him, the swaying lady will not be a threat at all. The moment he was let out, Leng Tu sent a message to Zhao Ning and took out a divine weapon in the shape of a mountain. He controlled it and pressed it towards Night Sorrow, who was not far away. Do we need to hold back? As for Zhao Ning, he asked Leng Tu if he should use all his strength. He was afraid that the 2 middle heavenly sovereigns would kill Night Sorrow directly. Leng Tu, who was attacking Night Sorrow, smiled and said, there's no need for that. As long as you don't destroy his elixir field and spiritual soul. You guys are thinking too much. Hearing their conversation, Yishang sneered and used the 9 steps of the Defiant Heaven to dodge. However, the mountain that Leng Tu had summoned had the effect of confinement, which greatly reduced his speed. Zhao Ning seized the opportunity and used the divine weapon, Fish Shadow Sword, to stab out 99 times. What a fast sword move. Zhao Ning's sword was extremely fast. If not for the sea serpent's eye, Night Sorrow would not have been able to see it clearly. At this moment, although he could see it clearly, it was unrealistic for him to shoot out hundreds of times in an instant to block it. He roared and immediately used the golden heavenly halberd to attack with the roaring flame demon spear. He used a large area of flames to burn the sword shadows that Zhao Ning had shot out. However, the effect was not very good. It was unable to block these sword shadows. After that, Night Sorrow added in the combination of the 3 words of frozen ice, greatly reducing the speed of the sword shadow. Then, he easily dodged the attack. Kid, you've got some skills. As expected of the person that the organization spent so much effort to get. Leng Tu praised Night Sorrow for being able to easily dodge Zhao Ning's sword shadow even under the pressure of the mountain peak. Then, he sneered and said, however, in front of us brothers, these are simply insignificant tricks. Now, I'll show you what the true difference in strength is. After he finished speaking, Leng Tu's body, which didn't look very muscular, suddenly swelled up in an instant. His entire body seemed to have turned into a piece of black iron, full of power. He sent a telepathic message to Zhao Ning, instructing her to be in charge of suppressing him with spells. Then, he approached Night Sorrow, clearly intending to engage in close combat. Don't worry. I will suppress him and guard against Hassa at the same time. Zhao Ning made a sound of agreement, then used an ultimate technique on Yishang. This secret technique was called Netherworld. It was a type of illusion. He wanted to use this illusion to distract Night Sorrow. At the same time, he chose to attack Hassa first and stabbed her dozens of times in a row. Although there weren't many sword shadows this time, the attack power was much stronger. It was to directly kill Hassa. However, after the sword shadows stabbed Hassa, Zhao Ning was shocked to discover that what he stabbed was an illusion. At this time, Hassa had already disappeared. Do you think I will sit there and wait for your attack? Just as Zhao Ning realized that he had missed, Hassa, who was hidden in the void, suddenly attacked him with the descent of all evil. She had been preparing this move for a long time. The figure that was hit just now was her projection. It was not real at all. Descent of all evil. I think I've heard of it. Facing Hassa's descent of all evil, the thought in Zhao Ning's mind disappeared in a flash and he was directly hit. It turned out that Hassa's sneak attack also borrowed the strength of an illusion. By the time Zhao Ning reacted, this move was already close to his body. I'm not injured. After being hit by descent of all evil, Zhao Ning found that he was not injured. At first, it could be that his body was strong enough to withstand Hassa's attack. But soon, he realized that something was wrong. After being hit by descent of all evil, he was immediately plagued by bad luck. His body was suffused with an evil black light. It was not as simple as his glabella turning black. There was not a single spot on his body that was unharmed. After confirming that Zhao Ning had been hit, Hasa sent a voice transmission to Night Sorrow, Night Demon, I will deal with this one in front of me. He has been hit by descent of all evil and is definitely not my match. You can deal with the other one with ease. It's best to end the battle quickly to avoid any more trouble. Okay. I will deal with him as soon as possible. Night Sorrow, who responded, felt a headache at this time. This was because Ling Tu's body was too strong. Fighting with him put a lot of pressure on him. If he wanted to end the battle quickly, he would have to take out the ancient coffin. But recently, he had been relying on the ancient coffin, which made Night Sorrow feel a little uncomfortable. He felt that he could not use that thing in battle. So, he did not take it out now. Instead, he used destruction of heaven and earth at the same time as he used the Tres Strimsa battle secret technique. With the golden heavenly halberd in his hand, he fought with Ling Tuesday Night Sorrow, who had gone crazy, was not inferior to Ling Tu in terms of strength. With the help of the 100 words mantra, he had a slight advantage. But this Ling Tu in front of him had extremely high defense. He really could not finish him off in a short time. At this time, Su Lei, who was lying on the ground, suddenly sent a voice transmission to Night Sorrow, you and Hasa better finish off the two in front of you quickly. From what I know, that organization still has a few people in Lu Tian Academy. If we delay for too long, their reinforcements might come. At this time, she was still being tortured by Ling Tuesday. She was extremely uncomfortable, but she could not die even if she wanted to. Not to mention getting up to fight. Thank you for the reminder. Night Sorrow, who had not thought about this, was reminded. After thinking for a while, he realized that things were not as simple as they seemed. Logically speaking, when entering the border of Lu Tian's battlefield, one could use the space hollow to bring people in. But when entering the core area of the battlefield, one could not bring unrelated people in. And Su Lei had brought Ling Tu and Zhao Ning in without being discovered. This meant that the organization had already figured out a way to avoid Lu Tian Academy's investigation. If there were reinforcements, they might bring a lot of helpers. That would be extremely dangerous. After thinking it through, Night Sorrow immediately sent a voice transmission to Hasa Lady, the two of us should finish off the two of them as soon as possible. Then, bring Su Lei away. Alright. He's been hit by my descent of all evils. He shouldn't be able to hold on for long. Hasa Lady replied when she heard Night Sorrow's voice transmission. She knew that Night Sorrow never talked nonsense. He must have his reasons for saying this. Chapter 32-41. After replying to Night Sorrow, Dancing Lady executed 1,000 illusion eyes and launched a frenzied bombardment at Zhao Ning. Facing the bombardment of thousands of black holes in the void. Originally, Zhao Ning had the ability to dodge all of them. But after being hit by descent of all evil and being plagued by bad luck, he became extremely unlucky. No matter how perfect his movement technique was executed, he would always be hit by accidents. He could not dodge no matter what, making him very uncomfortable. Under Dancing Lady's non-stop bombardment, Zhao Ning soon could not hold on and transmitted his voice to Ling Tu, Elder Ling, I've been hit by her ultimate art. Now that I'm plagued by bad luck, I can't dodge her attacks. Hurry up and finish off Night Devil and come over to help me. Why don't you think about it? If Night Devil was easier to deal with than Dancing Lady, would he be designated as a top target by the organization? This elder isn't feeling good right now either. Hold on, as long as we wait for reinforcements, we can win. Ling Tu heard Zhao Ning's voice transmission and replied huffily. Although his body's strength was very impressive, Night Sorrow was not to be outdone. Especially when he executed Apocalypse, it really had a kind of apocalyptic aura. It was simply as if he had transformed into a war god. At this time, Ling Tu was already completely suppressed. He only had the strength to retaliate and did not have the ability to parry. He was rather passive. How could he have the ability to help Xiao Ning? I didn't expect that these two people are so impressive. It can't be measured with cultivation at all. We can only wait for Icy Han to arrive. When he brings people over, these two people in front of us definitely won't be a match. Hearing Leng Tu's words, Xiao Ning, who only looked at Night Sorrow, was immediately surprised with this look. He discovered that the current Night Sorrow had an invincible concept on him, like a celestial god descending to the mortal world. He immediately understood that it was already not easy for Leng Tu to be able to hold on bitterly. Icy Han transmitted his voice. He still has 100 breaths of time to arrive. Elder Xiao Ning, you have to hold on no matter what. Right at this time, Leng Tu, who was originally suppressed by Night Sorrow, suddenly became spirited and transmitted his voiceover. Hearing this, Xiao Ning's aura immediately rose too. While dodging Dancing Lady's attacks, he started organizing a counterattack. The current him did not care about Divine Essence energy consumption at all and brought out a desperate aura. In the face of Xiao Ning's crazy counterattack, the limited dancing woman couldn't do anything to him. Thus, he sent a voice transmission to Night Sorrow, Night Demon, he and I are already evenly matched. I'm afraid it will be difficult for me to defeat him in a short period of time. It's up to you now. Good. My opponent shouldn't be able to hold on for long. After replying to Hasa, Night Sorrow hesitated for a moment before summoning the disguised Dragon of Virtue. Let the Dragon of Merit help Su Lei cleanse his pain. While helping to purify the pain, he was also preparing to completely purify it. He wanted her to sever all ties with the organization and the fog. What kind of method is this? No, we can't let him succeed. After discovering that Night Sorrow had summoned the Dragon of Virtue, his suppression on Su Lei was dispelled. Leng Tu was immediately puzzled. He understood that if Su Lei recovered, in a 3-against-2 situation, he and Xiao Ning would definitely not be a match. Thus, he immediately sent out a clone to attack Su Lei, preparing to kill Su Lei. I've been waiting for this moment. At this moment, Night Sorrow had already predicted that Leng Tu would do this. He kept Su Lei in his own space and allowed him to avoid Leng Tu's attack. In the moment of Leng Tu's clone, he summoned the Eternal Divine Tower and attacked. At the same time, he used the Supreme Dragon Subduing Technique and summoned the Kunpeng. On the other hand, he continuously used the 12-word technique. He also used the Nirvana Heart Fire. After using all these, he continued to use the 9 steps of the heaven-defying technique and attacked Leng Tu. Not good. I was careless. In the face of such a dense attack, Leng Tu was flustered and somewhat regretted attacking Su Lei. This caused him to be in a mess. I've even brewed the Nirvana Heart Fire. What else do you have to resist? Night Sorrow understood that Leng Tu's body was very strong and was already stronger than most Sky Sovereigns. However, the strength of his soul was obviously not so exaggerated. After blocking other attacks and being hit by the Nirvana Heart Fire, his soul couldn't withstand it. Leng Tu's soul was broken and he was instantly defeated. He couldn't withstand Night Sorrow's other attacks and was soon beaten by Night Sorrow to the point that he couldn't fight back. He sent a message to Xiao Ning and asked for help, Elder Xiao Ning, save me. Save me. Sigh. I can't even protect myself. I don't have the ability to save you. Looks like we can't hold on until Bing Han arrives. Xiao Ning replied weakly. At this moment, he was attacking with all his might and could barely suppress Dancing Lady. The situation looked good, but in reality, he didn't have any advantage. A single slip really brings everlasting sorrow. Facing Night Sorrow and Dancing Lady, the two of them couldn't see any hope of winning. Leng Tu immediately sent a message to Bing Han, Bing Han. You don't have to rush over. Elder Xiao Ning and I can't hold on anymore. The destination of the Night Demon and Su Lei was the Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill. You can just bring your men to the ancient site and wait. 2 elders. I'll avenge you. Bing Han, who was rushing in this direction, immediately replied sinisterly when he heard this. At this moment, Night Sorrow and Dancing Lady realized that Leng Tu and Xiao Ning seemed to have lost their courage to fight back. Night Sorrow, who was about to kill the two of them, immediately sent a message to Dancing Lady, "Don't kill them. Capture them." All right. The two of them should have accomplices in the Killer Heaven battlefield. Capture the two of them should be useful. Dancing Lady, who heard Night Sorrow's message, immediately understood Night Sorrow's intention. With Night Sorrow's help, they easily captured Leng Tu and Xiao Ning and kept them in Night Sorrow's spatial hollow. After killing the two of them, Night Sorrow immediately went to check on Su Lei's condition. Leng Tu was controlled and the curse in Su Lei's body was immediately lifted. The remaining dark aura was completely purified by Night Sorrow. What's going on? After Night Sorrow had completely purified Su Lei, many memories suddenly appeared in Su Lei's mind. At this moment, she realized that she was not from the foggy area. Nor was she from the Eternal Supreme World. Instead, she was from a hidden world adjacent to the Eternal Supreme World. The name of this world was the Eternal Ancient Barren World. It had existed for much longer than the Eternal Supreme World. Because it had not been discovered by the foggy area, it had not been conquered. Su Lei was originally the emperor there. Later, there was suddenly a strong enemy there and all of Su Lei's people were killed. At this time, people from the organization appeared and brought her to the foggy area. Step by step, she grew to what she was now. Su Lei, what's wrong with you? Did you remember something? Seeing Su Lei's strange expression, Night Sorrow suddenly asked in confusion. Night Demon. I'm not from the foggy area. I'm also not from the Eternal Supreme World. After a moment of silence, Su Lei suddenly spoke. Chapter 32-42. What? You're not from the Eternal Supreme World, nor are you from the foggy area. Then where are you from? Are you from the deceiving tribe? Night Sorrow immediately asked when he heard Su Lei's words. So far, aside from the Eternal Supreme Realm and the Misty Region, the only people Night Sorrow knew of from the other realms were the Heaven Deceivers. Hearing this, Su Lei immediately denied, I'm not from the deceiving tribe. I'm from the Eternal Ancient Barren World. Eternal Ancient Barren World? Does it still exist? When Night Sorrow heard this name, he immediately thought of the missing Supreme Longevity and others. He guessed if they had gone there. In my memory, it should exist. But later, I followed the people of the organization to the foggy area. Su Lei's memories of his hometown were still from before he went to the foggy area, so he answered truthfully. Do you know how to reach the Eternal Ancient Barren World? Night Sorrow quickly asked. Su Lei thought for a moment and said, we can find the entrance. Night Demon, what are you planning to do by asking about this? Some of my family members have gone missing. I can't find them in the Eternal Supreme World and the foggy area. I suspect that they have gone to other realms. That's why I asked so much when I heard you mention the Eternal Ancient Barren World. Night Sorrow said truthfully, but did not mention that he came from the Eternal Supreme World. I see. When we leave the battlefield, I'll take you to the Eternal Ancient Barren World. Su Lei, who was still a little weak, promised. Seeing that Su Lei's breath was very weak, Night Sorrow continued, you should recover in my grotto heaven first. When you're almost recovered, come out and fight side by side with us. Pasua and I will continue our journey. Okay. Su Lei responded and prepared to take the elixir and start his cultivation. But at this time, he suddenly thought of the organization behind him and said, that's right. Night Demon. In the organization behind me, there seems to be an expert half a step to the Supreme Realm. And they've been to the Eternal Ancient Barren World. If you go, you might encounter danger. After all, they want to deal with you. Don't worry, as long as I can advance to the Heavenly Supreme in the battlefield, I can go. Have a good rest and leave the rest to me and Pasua. Night Sorrow said. Then he looked at Dancing Woman, who was looking at him in confusion, and said, let's go. What were you talking to Sule about? How is she? Dancing woman guessed that Night Sorrow must be talking to Sule, so she asked curiously. I asked about her injuries and some things about her hometown. By the way, where is your hometown? Night Sorrow replied before changing the topic. Isn't my hometown the foggy area? Our clan is the original inhabitants of the fog zone. But now, this is the world of the three supreme venerables. We only have our clan, and no home. Swaying woman said unwillingly. The natives of the foggy area were actually very dissatisfied with the three supreme venerables. However, due to the difference in strength, they did not dare to voice their anger. Hee hee. If I attack the three supreme monarchs one day, will you and your people do the same? Night Sorrow asked with a smile as he flew towards the ancient ruins. You can't say that casually. Swaying woman did not answer this question, nor did she ask anything. Together with Night Sorrow, she flew towards the ancient ruins. Not long after, the two of them encountered another illusion. In the illusion, there were countless wandering souls of lower heavenly sovereigns. Originally, Night Sorrow and Swaying Woman had some difficulty dealing with them. However, at this time, the lower half of the Eternal Divine Tower took action and absorbed all the wandering souls, turning them into energy. As a result, this illusion became the easiest one for Night Sorrow to pass. Swaying Woman received the reward of this illusion. After swallowing it, she suddenly advanced to a Middle Heavenly Sovereign. She became the second person to advance to a Middle Heavenly Sovereign in this batch after Gusu. This was a surprise for Night Sorrow. After Swaying Woman finished her tribulation, Night Sorrow looked at her and said, Congratulations, Swaying. If you can get the Supreme Heavenly Origin Pill in the ancient ruins this time, you may advance again. At that time, you can catch up with the students of the previous batches. Even Lin Dongqing might not be a match for you. It is possible to catch up with the others. However, the reason why Lin Dongqing did not advance to a Middle Heavenly Sovereign quickly was not because he did not have the ability to advance. It was because he wanted to strengthen his foundation. Otherwise, he would have the ability to advance to an Upper Heavenly Sovereign long ago. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Swaying Woman immediately told him the reason why Lin Dongqing did not advance. It turned out that Lin Dongqing had been staying at a lower Heavenly Sovereign in order to reach the half-step to Supreme Realm in the future. The truly talented do not need to make any stops. That Lin Dongqing will not have great achievements. Hearing Swaying Woman's words, Night Sorrow said disdainfully. He really did not think highly of Lin Dongqing. Then, he continued to ask, Oh right, Swaying. You have been in Lu Tian Academy for more time than me. Do you know who the true geniuses are in the academy? These things are confidential in the academy. I don't know. However, I heard that there is a middle courtyard in Lu Tian Academy where the geniuses of the geniuses gather. Those geniuses all have the possibility of advancing to the half-step to Supreme Realm. If you perform well when you leave New Elegant Peak, you should be able to enter that place. Swaying Woman told him what she knew. It seems that the geniuses who have the possibility of advancing to the Supreme Realm must be in this middle courtyard. When Night Sorrow heard Swaying Woman's words, he immediately became interested in this middle courtyard. After all, his main purpose of sneaking into Lu Tian Academy was to find a suitable body for supreme longevity. There is a fight ahead. Swaying Woman suddenly spoke when Night Sorrow was slightly distracted. I don't know who is fighting. Let's go over and take a look. Night Sorrow, who had regained his senses, said something to Swaying Woman and took the lead to fly in front. In the process of flying, he used a concealment talisman on himself and Swaying Woman. If a heavenly sovereign used their spiritual energy to investigate, this kind of concealment talisman would be easily detected. However, the people fighting in front of them were focused on the battle and naturally did not notice it. Soon, Night Sorrow brought Swaying Woman to a place where he could see clearly with the sea serpent's eye. With this look, Night Sorrow immediately realized that the people fighting in front of them. One of them was Lin Dongqing and the other students from the previous cohort. Knight Sorrow did not know the other side, but he was sure that they were students from the previous cohort. Their battle was evenly matched and had reached a white-hot level. Should we help the other side to deal with Lin Dongqing? Swaying woman immediately asked after seeing the battle situation clearly. No. Elder Su had specially said that Lin Dongqing had extraordinary means. We will wait here and see what he is capable of. Yi Shang replied. Then, he and Dancing Woman hid and continued to watch the battle. Chapter 32-43. There were a total of 20 people on both sides. At this moment, they were fighting, and from afar, they looked like rings of light. Knight Sorrow and Dancing Woman's gazes were mainly focused on Lin Dongqing and a male cultivator on the other side. This male cultivator had the strength of an upper heavenly supreme, and he was faintly suppressing Lin Dongqing. Judging from his aura, Lin Dongqing, who had obviously advanced to a middle heavenly supreme, would take out divine artifacts or secret treasures from time to time during the battle to make up for the difference in strength. Under such circumstances, the two were still in a stalemate. If this stalemate continues, Lin Dongqing should be the winner. After all, he still has the trump card that Elder Su mentioned. As he watched the battle, Yi Shang's gaze never left Lin Dongqing's. At this moment, Dancing Woman said, "Oh right. I remember now. The person fighting with Lin Dongqing is called Zhu Ziyuan. He's a student 2 batches higher than us. He's the second person in that batch. As for the first person, he seems to be called Ling Shi. He has already entered the middle of that courtyard. Zhu Ziyuan. Judging from his talent, he should be about the same as Lin Dongqing. But today, I'm afraid he's going to die." After observing for a while, Knight Sorrow concluded. Because he used the sea serpent's eye to see that Lin Dongqing had been very relaxed during the battle. There was no smell of a life and death battle at all. On the other hand, Zhu Ziyuan had been in a state of desperation, but in this state, he was still relying on his strength and the sword in his hand. Obviously, he didn't have as many secret treasures as Lin Dongqing. Yes. I can also see that Zhu Ziyuan is weak. I didn't expect Lin Dongqing and the others to be able to defeat their students from the previous batch. Dancing Woman sighed. Even if Elder Su didn't remind them, they could see that Lin Dongqing's side would win. This was eyesight. The suspense now is whether Zhu Ziyuan can force Lin Dongqing to use his trump card. If we can see Lin Dongqing's trump card in advance, it will be much easier in the ancient ruins. Knight Sorrow frowned as he watched Lin Dongqing. At this moment, he suddenly felt a chill in his eyes. The sea serpent's eye had quietly evolved. Looking into the distance, the scene became even clearer. After the evolution, the sea serpent's eye should be able to see more than Huayra. Knight Sorrow turned to look at Swaying Woman. He found that the movements of Lin Dongqing and the others had become much slower in his eyes. Watch out, Lin Dongqing is about to use his trump card. He was forced into a corner by Zhu Ziyuan. Just as Knight Sorrow's eyes were evolving, Dancing Woman suddenly reminded him. This was because Zhu Ziyuan had suddenly unleashed his trump card, the Wind and Cloud Sky/Sword. For a moment, Lin Dongqing was suppressed to the point that he could not even raise his head. In this situation, Dancing Woman judged that Lin Dongqing would definitely unleash his final attack. Zhu Ziyuan, you're courting death. As expected. As soon as Swaying Woman finished speaking, Lin Dongqing was completely enraged. Then, he took out a horn from the space. After taking it out, Lin Dongqing immediately activated it and attacked Zhu Ziyuan. This is a half-step supreme stage divine artifact. By the time Zhu Ziyuan shouted, it was already too late to dodge. In the blink of an eye, it was blasted into ashes and annihilated. Lin Dongqing's trump card is actually a half-step supreme stage divine artifact. And he can unleash the power of the horn. This threat to us is too great. No wonder Elder Su warned us like that. Looks like we really have to avoid them. Knight Sorrow saw the scene of the horn killing the upper heavenly supreme Zhu Ziyuan and immediately understood that Lin Dongqing's divine artifact was not something he and Swaying Woman could fight against. He sent a voice transmission to Swaying Woman, let's go around and go to the ancient ruins first. Let's go. Okay. With this half-step Supreme Stage Divine Artifact, Lin Dongqing should be invincible in the battlefield of the Killer Heaven. We can only avoid him. Swaying Woman sighed and said, if only Senior Heaven Defying was here. Yes. If Senior Heaven Defying was here, we shouldn't be afraid of Lin Dongqing's half-step Supreme Stage Divine Artifact. But it's impossible for him to appear now. Let's go. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he prepared to retreat with Swaying Woman. Who's watching our battle? But right at this moment, Lin Dongqing suddenly looked over. It turned out that not only did his horn have outstanding attack power, but it was also very observant. Lin Dongqing found us. Enter my space grotto heaven and I'll take you away. He shouldn't be as fast as me. Hearing Lin Dongqing's roar, Night Sorrow immediately sent a voice transmission to Swaying Woman. He kept her in the space grotto heaven and flew straight in the direction of the space grotto heaven. You guys take care of these old students. I'll go after the night demon. With the horn's reminder, Lin Dongqing knew that the person watching the battle was Night Sorrow. He used the horn to attack the old students a few times and then chased after Night Sorrow. That horn seems to be very fast too. Night Sorrow, who was escaping, was very confident in his speed compared to Lin Dongqing's. But soon he realized that Lin Dongqing's horn was faster than him when he used the 9 steps of the Heaven Defying, 33 Heavens Battle Mystic technique. Armageddon. Under these circumstances, Night Sorrow let out a roar and activated his secret battle technique and Heaven Destroying Earth Extinguishing technique. He increased his speed. In an instant, Lin Dongqing and the horn were far apart. What? Night Demon, that little bastard, is actually so fast. After Night Sorrow activated his status and ran quickly, Lin Dongqing was immediately dumbfounded and urged, speed up and catch up. That little bastard in front killed my Lin family's people and has a very powerful secret treasure. He must die. Young master, it's not that I don't want to chase, it's that I can't. If I'm not wrong, he should be burning his bloodline power or using other secret techniques. This speed won't last long. When we reach the ancient ruins, he will definitely find a place to recuperate. When the time comes, I will find him. At this moment, the horn's artifact spirit replied. Night Sorrow's speed was too fast. Even he, a half-step paramount realm, could not catch up. However, he did not lose confidence in catching up. Hearing the horn's artifact spirit's analysis, Lin Dongqing nodded and said, yes. His goal is definitely the same as ours, the Supreme Heaven Origin Pill. Therefore, his destination will be the ancient ruins. Let's turn back and kill the flies from the previous batch first. Then we'll deal with this night demon. After saying that, Lin Dongqing brought the horn back and killed all of Zhu Ziyuan's people with the other students. After this battle, there were not many students from the previous batch left in Lin Dongqing's group. Other than Ling Shi, who had entered the middle courtyard, there were only a few injured people who did not rush over. When Lin Dongqing had killed all the students from the previous batch, Lin Dongqing had killed them all. Night Sorrow had already brought Swaying Woman and Su Lei into the ancient ruins. Chapter 32-44. As soon as he entered the ancient site recorded on the map, Night Sorrow smelled a strong smell of blood. This proved that there must have been a battle at the edge of the ancient site not long ago. The blood did not dissipate for a long time. Pasua, do you want to recover or come out with me? Night Sorrow checked and found that Su Lei's condition was not very good, but Pasua's condition seemed to be okay, so he asked. After all, everyone could come across an opportunity in this ancient site. If it was just for safety, they would not have come to such a place. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Pasua said, let me out. I'll fight alongside you. Okay. There should be many batches of students here. Among them, there are nearly 10 upper heavenly sovereigns. We have to be vigilant in case we get ambushed. As Night Sorrow moved forward, he used the sea serpent's eye to observe the surroundings. At the same time, he reminded Pasua. Pasua opened her vertical eye and said with a smile, with our eye techniques, we don't have to be afraid of their traps. You're confident. However, this place has been exposed for a long time. There shouldn't be many opportunities in the periphery. Let's go in too. After using the newly evolved sea serpent's eye to observe, Night Sorrow did not see anything valuable, so he prepared to continue walking in. Pasua, who had also observed for a while, nodded and said, the surrounding 10,000 miles have indeed been turned upside down. Let's continue going in. Yes, faster. After all, there's still Lin Dongqing behind us. That horn of his is very difficult to deal with. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he led the way in front. As for Pasua, she was slightly behind. This was to prevent the two of them from falling into the trap at the same time. After walking for about 100,000 miles, Night Sorrow's eyes lit up. He transmitted his voice to Pasua, look at the underground in the southwest direction. What's there? Pasua heard the transmission and immediately looked in the direction that Night Sorrow had pointed out. She was surprised and said, according to the description on Elder Su's map. This is the Supreme Heaven Essence Pill. How could we find one so easily? That's great. Could it be fake or an illusion? It's not fake. How could a fake Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill deceive our eye techniques? Wait a moment, I'll bring it over. While Night Sorrow observed with the sea serpent's eye, he released his divine soul power to investigate the Sovereign Heaven Essence Pill in front of him. After confirming that the artifact was real, Zhang Xian immediately flew down to retrieve it. Isn't this a little too easy? Seeing that Night Sorrow had taken the Supreme Heaven Essence Pill without being attacked, Hassa woman didn't know what to say. It's indeed unexpected that things would go so smoothly. I think it's very likely that he has an advantage in finding treasures because he has an eye technique. Night Sorrow, who also felt that this matter was quite strange, spoke up and continued to search with Hassa. After flying for another 200,000 miles in the void, they found another Supreme Heaven Origin Pill. This Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill was the same as the previous one. It was also buried in the ground. Night Sorrow checked it and didn't find any danger. He looked at Hassa and said, go and get it. This is unbelievably smooth. Could it be that none of the students in front of us know eye techniques? Hassa woman was using her vertical eye to observe the Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill not far away. She felt that things were going so smoothly that it was like a dream. She hesitated and didn't immediately go to retrieve it. This artifact must be real. It's the same as the one in my hand. Even if it's dangerous, it's worth the risk. I'll go get it and give it to you. Night Sorrow was also someone who had experienced hundreds of battles. Naturally, he could figure out what was going on. However, he was very confident in his own strength at the moment. He felt that even an upper heavenly sovereign wouldn't be able to hurt him. Thus, he flew directly toward the Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill. Bastard! Why isn't Lin Dongqing the one who came? Isn't our plan going to be in vain? After Night Sorrow flew closer, an upper heavenly sovereign, who had used a secret treasure to hide near the Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill, said unhappily. Including the first Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill, it was all planned by their group. The first Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill was to eliminate Lin Dongqing's vigilance, and the second Sovereign Heaven Origin Pill was a trap for Lin Dongqing. This trap relied on a one-time use superior grade concealment talisman. Even Night Sorrow and Hassa woman hadn't noticed any clues, let alone Lin Dongqing. However, at this moment, the person who had set up the trap didn't see Lin Dongqing, but Night Sorrow had come. Leader, what should we do? Go out and kill him. After the upper heavenly sovereign finished speaking, another cultivator immediately asked, what are you talking about? Nonsense. Of course, we have to kill him. However, we have to do it quickly. After all, according to the information, Lin Dongqing will be here soon. That bastard has a half-step to supreme grade divine artifact. We can't fight him head-on. The upper heavenly sovereign who had spoken just now secretly cursed his bad luck as he gave the order. Something's not right. Hasa, get ready to fight or escape. After the group spoke, Night Sorrow immediately felt a slight fluctuation in the space. Although this fluctuation was weak, he still sensed it. He immediately warned Hasa woman. I knew it. Things aren't that simple. Hasa woman said. Then, she summoned the 1,000 illusion eyes in the void and started to prepare for the descent of all evil. She knew that her strength was at the bottom of the list in this ancient site. Therefore, she used her ultimate move. Indeed, they are not simple. Their concealment techniques can deceive our eye techniques. If they were scheming against others, the success rate would be higher. As Night Sorrow replied, he immediately activated the 33 Heavens secret combat technique. His cultivation level was lower than Hasa woman's, so he couldn't be careless. I didn't expect that an earthly sovereign like you would be so alert. However, all of this is in vain. You have affected my plan to kill Lin Dongqing. You must die. At this moment, 3 cultivators walked out from the void near the Sovereign Heaven primary pill. The black-robed male cultivator standing in the middle was an upper heavenly sovereign. The man and woman beside him were both middle heavenly sovereigns. Without giving Night Sorrow a chance to speak, the upper heavenly sovereign thrust out his spear. His spear looked similar to an ordinary red tasseled spear, but it was very powerful. Night Sorrow, who was brandishing his golden heavenly halberd to block the attack, immediately asked, Who are you? Did you set up the Sovereign Heaven primary pill to kill Lin Dongqing? Lin Dongqing and I have an irreconcilable feud. I must kill him. You have ruined my chance, so it's useless to say anything else. Die. Chao Mang, the upper heavenly sovereign, said coldly as he launched another attack on Yishang. Chapter 32:45. Let me give you a piece of advice. If you don't want Lin Dongqing to reap the benefits, you'd better stop now. He's chasing after me and will be here soon. Night Sorrow said coldly as he struggled to defend against Chao Mang's attack. At this moment, he stopped Dancing Lady, who was about to unleash the descent of all evil. To him, these people were the enemy of his enemy. They didn't have to be killed. Naturally, he didn't want Lin Dongqing to benefit because of them. We know that Lin Dongqing will be here soon. But killing the two of you won't affect the overall situation. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Chao Mang didn't put Night Sorrow and Dancing Lady in his eyes at all. He said coldly, What are the two of you still standing there for? Kill the two of them immediately. Then plan how to deal with Lin Dongqing. Yes. The female cultivator beside Chao Mang immediately attacked Dancing Lady. The other male cultivator cooperated with Chao Mang and attacked Night Sorrow. He wanted to finish off Night Sorrow quickly. You idiots. If you can defeat Lin Dongqing, I'll write my name backwards. Based on Chao Mang's eyesight and state of mind, Night Sorrow was sure that he was no match for Lin Dongqing. While replying with disdain, he activated Armageddon. While fighting Chao Mang and the others, he transmitted his voice to Dancing Lady, with our strength, defeating Chao Mang and the others isn't difficult. But we definitely need time. That would definitely allow Lin Dongqing to reap the benefits. Let's fight them and leave immediately. Alright. Chao Mang is really an idiot who doesn't know when to stop. Dancing Lady also felt that although Chao Mang's cultivation was high, he was definitely an idiot. It was clear that Night Sorrow and Dancing Lady had a grudge against Lin Dongqing. Most people would choose to join forces with them to deal with Lin Dongqing. But Chao Mang chose to fight Night Sorrow to the death when Lin Dongqing was about to arrive. This choice was the most disadvantageous to him. You're an Earth Sovereign, but you talk big. Prepare to die. At this moment, Chao Mang, who was despised by Night Sorrow, flew into a rage and said contemptuously. Then, he used his ultimate technique. Clear Sky White Sun Spear. This move was very beautiful, and its power was also very good. However, Night Sorrow was also someone who was good at using guns. After observing it with the sea serpent's eye, he discovered a loophole. using the strengthened Qingxian godly spear technique to fight back in the state of Armageddon. As for the other male cultivators' attacks, they were all dodged by his 9 defiant steps. In a 1 versus 2 situation, not only did he neutralize Chao Mang's attack, but he also made all of the middle-level Heavenly Sovereign's attacks miss. I didn't expect this earthly sovereign to be so powerful. But since we've already started, there's no turning back. Kill. After Chao Mang discovered that Knight Soro's strength was not to be underestimated, he did not stop attacking. Instead, he ignited his bloodline power. He displayed an even more powerful ultimate skill. In the face of Chao Mang's attack, Chao Mang's Knight Soro, which could destroy heaven and earth, wasn't under much pressure. But according to his speculations, Lin Dongqing might have already arrived. Therefore, he didn't want to delay any longer. He sent a voice transmission to Hasa Lady. This person is a fool. He will die in Lin Dongqing's hands sooner or later. Let's go. I have absolute confidence in escaping. Don't worry about me. After receiving Yi Shang's telepathic message, Dancing Woman replied. After advancing to a middle-level Heavenly Sovereign, her strength had increased significantly. Facing a middle-level Heavenly Sovereign female cultivator in front of her, she didn't feel much pressure at all. If she went all out, she even had the confidence to kill her. If she just wanted to leave, she could do it. Alright. Since you're so confident, let's go. Knight Soro sent a voice transmission to Hasa Lady again. Then, he formed a 12 word seals and a divine origin trapping array to slow down Chao Mang and the other male cultivator. Then, he soared into the sky and flew into the distance. You want to leave? Where do you think you're going? Seeing that Knight Soro was about to leave, Chao Mang, whose speed was restricted, immediately took out a pagoda-shaped divine artifact. He used it to shatter Knight Soro's word seals and divine origin trapping array. Then, he chased after them. Why is the aura of this pagoda so familiar? At this moment, Knight Soro deliberately slowed down to let Hasa Lady catch up. Suddenly, he felt that the pagoda that Chao Mang took out was somewhat familiar. He immediately used the sea serpent's eye to look behind him. Before Knight Soro could see anything, Xiaowu said in surprise, that pagoda. It's the 6th level of our eternal divine tower. I heard that it was in a city. I didn't expect it to appear in this person's hands. What? This pagoda is actually the 6th level of the eternal divine tower. That's great. This is really a case of traveling far and wide in search of something, only to find it by chance. Hearing this, Knight Soro immediately stopped in his tracks. He looked at Hasa Lady and said, I suddenly have a reason to fight. You can enter my heavenly abode. In case Lin Dongqing appears and attacks you. No need. Trust me, I can protect myself. Hasa Lady didn't ask why Knight Soro suddenly wanted to fight, but she stood beside him and didn't retreat. Knight Soro looked sideways and said, thank you. At this moment, he took another look at Hasa Lady. Knight Soro. In this battle, if you can obtain and purify Xiaowu, our 5th, 6th, 7th, and 9th levels can be promoted to half-step to Supreme Realm. You are worth a try. Little Seven transmitted his voice. Then all the more I have to take the risk. Hearing this, Knight Soro's body suddenly erupted with a strong fighting spirit. Holding the golden heavenly halberd in his hand, he directly attacked Chao Mang. I didn't expect you to actually turn back. But this is good, I'll take care of you and Lin Dongqing. Chao Mang didn't expect Knight Soro to turn back and was caught off guard. However, he was an upper heavenly supreme after all, and he wasn't instantly defeated by such an attack. However, the female cultivator beside Chao Mang wasn't so lucky. She was directly hit by Hasa Lady's all evil descends. She was instantly entangled with misfortune, and the battle became extremely awkward. Well done, Hasa. Hasa Lady had used all evil descends to attack the female cultivator, causing her to lose half of her fighting strength. Night Sorrow praised her, then turned to the male cultivator beside Chao Mang and launched his most violent attack. This time, the middle heavenly supreme male cultivator was no longer ignored, but he immediately realized how strong Night Sorrow was. In less than 10 breaths, his dantian was pierced. He was so frightened that he quickly crushed a secret treasure and used its characteristics to disappear on the spot. I'll give you a chance. Hand over the pagoda in your hand, and I'll let you live. Night Sorrow looked at Chao Mang and said after Chao Mang's left and right arms had been dealt with one after another. According to his judgment, Lin Dongqing could arrive at any time, and he didn't want to waste too much time. You want me to surrender? Dream on. I'll drag it out until Lin Dongqing arrives and make you suffer. At this moment, Chao Mang, whose left and right arms had been crippled, roared crazily. Chapter 32-46. Die. Just as Chao Mang's voice fell, Dancing Woman suddenly shouted and shattered the female cultivator's dantian. This female cultivator was different from the male cultivator who had just escaped. She didn't have any life-saving methods. With her dantian shattered, Dancing Woman shattered her soul. She was completely killed. Whinnying. Seeing the female cultivator killed, the veins on Chao Mang's face bulged. He looked much more ferocious. With a gloomy face, he looked at Night Sorrow and Dancing Woman with a venomous gaze. He roared resentfully, "Today, even if I have to self-destruct, Chao Mang will make you accompany Whinnying in death." Then, as if he had gone mad, he attacked Dancing Woman. But Night Sorrow was right beside him. How could he let him have his way? When Chao Mang attacked Dancing Woman, he used the 12 words of truth to slow down Chao Mang. This 100 words of truth is really powerful. Dancing Woman praised when she saw Night Sorrow use the 100 words of truth to slow down Chao Mang's speed. Then, she used the 1,000 illusion net. Chao Mang was trapped in the center of the net. She captured him so easily. Seeing Dancing Woman's 1,000 illusion net trap Chao Mang, Night Sorrow suddenly felt that Chao Mang might be playing tricks. He transmitted his voice to Dancing Woman, reminding her not to be careless. He flew to the ground and kept the Sovereign Heaven Origin pills that he hadn't taken out into his spatial artifact. While he was collecting the Sovereign Heaven Origin pills, Chao Mang roared crazily, but he still didn't fight for the 1,000 illusion net's restraint. Dancing Woman, you take care of Lin Dongqing. I'll deal with Chao Mang. Under such circumstances, Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Dancing Woman. Then, he held the golden heavenly halberd and shot a godly spear at Chao Mang. According to his judgment, Chao Mang was pretending to be restrained and was preparing a big move in the center of the 1,000 illusion net. Therefore, Night Sorrow didn't manage to close the distance between them. At the same time, Night Sorrow summoned Little 5, Little 7, Little 8, and Little 9. They fought against the 6th level of the Eternal Divine Tower in the void. He was prepared to let them directly subdue the 6th level. This was also a move to buy time. After all, Lin Dongqing could appear at any time. Boom! Just as Night Sorrow's godly shot was about to hit Chao Mang's eyes lit up. Chao Mang's body suddenly erupted with a shocking red light, blocking the attack of the god's spear. As for his entire person, after bathing in the red light, his aura rose by a lot. At this time, he looked coldly at the whirling woman and said, "Multi-eyed monster, I really have to thank you for giving me the chance to hibernate. You gave me enough time to use my strongest bloodline skill. Descent of all evils." Being called the multi-eyed monster, Dancing Woman was immediately enraged. She gathered her aura and used the descent of all evil again. After using this move, she seemed to be a little weak. Facing the descending Chao Mang, he simply did not place this move in his eyes. Using his left fist, he blasted out a beam of blood-red light and forcefully dispersed the descent of all evil. How is this possible? This was the first time that the descent of all evil had been broken apart, which surprised Dancing Woman. Quick! Enter my space grotto heaven. At this time, Night Sorrow suddenly shouted. Because he saw that Lin Dongqing had already appeared in the distance with his people. In addition to Lin Dongqing, there were 6 other cultivators. With such a lineup and the one-horned man, the threat was too great. Knight Sorrow was not sure if he and the ancient coffin could stop them, so he prepared to leave immediately. Okay. After Knight Sorrow's reminder, the whirling woman, who was not in a good state, immediately entered his space grotto heaven. Knight Sorrow. Although we can suppress it, we can't take it back. We still need you to purify it. At this time, Little Seven suddenly reminded him. After the 4th floor took action, they quickly suppressed the 6th floor, but they did not have the means to purify it. It seems that things are getting complicated. We can't leave directly. After receiving Little Seven's voice transmission, Knight Sorrow thought for a moment. Without hesitation, he took out the ancient coffin and threw it at Chao Mang. At the same time, he summoned the power of merit to purify the suppressed 6th floor of the Eternal Divine Tower. This process was completed very quickly. However, when Knight Sorrow obtained the 6th floor, Lin Dongqing had already arrived with his people. They surrounded him and Chao Mang. Phew. That went well. It's good that we got it. Although they were surrounded, Knight Sorrow, who obtained the 6th floor of the Eternal Divine Tower, finally heaved a sigh of relief. He began to think about how to escape unscathed. Lin Dongqing, who saw that it was Knight Sorrow and Chao Mang fighting, laughed and said, I was still wondering who it was. So it's the 2 of you fighting each other. Nice, very nice. You guys continue to fight. I'll spare the life of whoever wins. Who do you think you are? Do you think I, the Night Demon, need you to spare my life? Knight Sorrow took back the ancient coffin that he had thrown at Chao Mang. At the same time, he sent a voice transmission to Little Seven. Little Seven, think of a way to combine a half-step paramount divine weapon. Don't worry. A half-step paramount divine weapon will be produced soon. I guarantee that its power won't be inferior to Lin Dongqing's horn. You just need to delay it for 20 breaths. Little Seven replied. 20 breaths? That's easy. Knight Sorrow secretly replied. At this moment, Chao Mang saw Lin Dongqing arrive. He glanced at Lin Dongqing and then at Knight Sorrow. His eyes flashed with a cold, resentful light. After pondering for a moment, he roared in a low voice, all of you, die. He chose to self-destruct on the spot. Brute. Knight Sorrow, who had wanted to use Chao Mang to buy some time, immediately used the defiant 9 steps to dodge. With the help of the Divine Essence Trap Array, he was basically unharmed. As for Lin Dongqing and the others, they were far away and were even less affected. After the aftermath of Chao Mang's self-destruction passed, Lin Dongqing sneered at Knight Sorrow and said, this Chao Mang originally had a grudge with me, but I didn't expect to trap you here. You did me a big favor. Quickly hand over the divine weapon you just used. I can spare your life. Lin Dongqing, don't say such nonsense in front of me. Isn't your horn very powerful? Come, attack me and try it. Knight Sorrow looked at Lin Dongqing and the others fearlessly. At the same time, he took out the ancient coffin and let it float in front of him. The moment the dark aura appeared, Lin Dongqing and the others looked askance. Lin Dongqing asked the horn's weapon spirit, what is that ancient coffin in front of us? Why is its aura so terrifying? I'm not sure, but its grade shouldn't be inferior to mine. The horn's weapon spirit replied and continued, although it's not inferior to mine, he might not be able to control it. We'll strike first and gain the upper hand. Alright. Let's kill him directly. After the horn's weapon spirit finished speaking, Lin Dongqing activated the horn and controlled it to shoot out a dark ray of light. It shot toward Knight Sorrow. This was a true half-step paramount state attack. Chapter 3247. The attack of a half-step to the paramount realm is indeed very strong. Facing Du Jiao's attack, Knight Sorrow placed the ancient coffin in front of him, preparing to block this attack. According to his judgment, the ancient coffin could withstand an attack of this level. Therefore, he didn't take it seriously. He was prepared to block it for a while and take the opportunity to break through the encirclement and escape. After all, he could withstand the attack of a half-step to the paramount realm, but some of the cultivators Lin Dongqing brought couldn't. But at this moment, Little Five suddenly transmitted a voice transmission, put away the ancient coffin. Doloa Continent Comic / Let us block this move. Oh. You guys finished combining so quickly. Didn't you say you needed 20 breaths? Night Sorrow asked doubtfully. At the same time, he released the completed Eternal Divine Tower. At this moment, the Eternal Divine Tower had already completed 5/9 of the combination. Hearing Night Sorrow's question, Little Five replied, "We didn't expect that after not seeing each other for so many years, the fusion would still be so smooth. Watch us block his attack." As he spoke, the Eternal Divine Tower flew in front of Night Sorrow. It forcibly blocked Du Jiao's attack. Is that so? The power is not bad, right? All along, the Eternal Divine Tower had been a bystander by Night Sorrow's side. At this moment, it could finally play a big role in the battle. Little Seven asked proudly. He had a feeling of exaltation and elation. Little Seven, what's there to be proud of? Have you forgotten what kind of existence we were at our peak? Little Eight said disdainfully when he heard Little Seven's bragging. At its peak, the Eternal Divine Tower was the first Paramount Realm divine artifact in the Eternal Supreme Realm. However, it had declined for too many years now. In fact, many people didn't even know of its existence. Hearing this, Night Sorrow smiled and said, "Don't worry, one day, I will let you guys regain your glory." After confirming that the Eternal Divine Tower could block Du Jiao's attack, he wasn't in a hurry to escape. Because Lin Dongqing and his subordinates shouldn't be able to hurt him at all. This night demon really has a lot of good things in his hands. Today, we must kill him at all costs. Seeing Night Sorrow use the Eternal Divine Tower to block Du Jiao's attack, Lin Dongqing roared with envy. Yes. We will do our best to cooperate. Everyone who had been blown away by the shockwave received the order and immediately surrounded Night Sorrow again. Of course, this was because Night Sorrow did not use the 9 defiant steps to escape. Otherwise, they would not have been able to stop him. Attack! Seeing that Night Sorrow was the leader, Lin Dongqing immediately ordered. At the same time, he let the horn float above his head, allowing it to recover its vitality. Du Jiao had attacked too many times recently and had consumed too much energy. He needed several dozen breaths of time to recover. While recovering, Ikaku reminded them, the night demon's 2 divine artifacts don't have any active attacking aura. You should be able to defeat them. Good. We will try our best to use melee attacks. Lin Dongqing replied to Night Sorrow. Then, he ordered everyone to use melee attacks and surround Night Sorrow. He knew that using those fancy techniques would not have any effect on the ancient coffin and the Eternal Divine Tower. It was better to use melee attacks directly. He did not continue to use the horn. He wants to use melee attacks to deal with me. Seeing the horn floating above Lin Dongqing's head, he did not continue to attack. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said, "Little Five, can you guys prepare an attack? If you can muster up a half-step to the Paramount Realm attack, I want to directly kill Lin Dongqing." "We can, but it will take time." After Little Five replied, he analyzed and added, "It will take about 30 breaths. Can you hold on? 30 breaths should be enough. If it doesn't work, I can still use the ancient coffin or fight while retreating." After Night Sorrow finished speaking to Little Five, he activated the Treistrimsa Battle Mystic Technique and the destruction of heaven and earth. He also activated the Blue Phoenix Battle Armor. Apart from the power of good karma, he raised all his stats to the maximum. He started to fight with Lin Dongqing and the other students of the same batch. Lin Dongqing's strength was not bad. He had just become a Middle Heavenly Supreme, but he already had the strength of an Upper Heavenly Supreme. He was not easy to deal with. Under his lead, everyone quickly suppressed Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow used the 100 words mantra and the defiant 9 steps to deal with him. He was fighting while retreating, mainly relying on his defense to buy time. After persisting like this for about 20 breaths of time, Night Sorrow asked, "Little 5. How are your preparations?" "It's about the same as expected. Another 10 breaths will be enough." Little 5 knew that Night Sorrow could not hold on any longer, so he replied without hesitation. "Another 10 breaths. Let's end these 10 breaths with the attack." Everyone, including Little 5, thought that Night Sorrow would continue to use his speed to buy time. At this moment, Night Sorrow went against the flow. He chose to use the mysterious Azure Divine Spear technique and took the initiative to attack one of the Middle Heavenly Sovereigns. Oh no! He was hiding his strength. Be careful! Seeing Night Sorrow's sudden attack, Lin Dongqing shouted a warning. At the same time, he used a long frost sword in his hand to stab at Night Sorrow's dantian. He wanted to use it to save Night Sorrow's dantian. However, when the tip of the sword pierced through Night Sorrow's body, Lin Dongqing suddenly realized that what he had stabbed was only an afterimage left in the void. Night Sorrow's golden heavenly halberd had directly pierced through the dantian of one of the cultivators. After being crippled by the spear, the cultivator immediately let out an unwilling cry. "Brother Lin, save me, save me. I didn't expect that at this moment, the divine talisman refined by the Dragon Sparrow King would work. I wonder how Dragon Sparrow and Phoenix are doing now." Before the attack, Night Sorrow, who had used the Dragon Sparrow King's divine talisman, was slightly emotional. The Dragon Sparrow King's divine talisman had increased his speed by 3 times even though he was at his limit. Compared to some of the cultivators present, his movement technique was simply like a ghost. After that, other than Lin Dongqing who used a secret technique to increase his speed, he could barely keep up with Night Sorrow's rhythm. The others could not find Night Sorrow's real body at all under such rapid attacks. In 10 breaths of time, Night Sorrow had killed 3 of Lin Dongqing's subordinates and severely injured 2. In the blink of an eye, the situation had completely reversed. "I've recovered. If we launch a sneak attack at close range, he shouldn't be able to react. As long as the ancient coffin or ancient pagoda doesn't move. I'm confident that I can kill him directly." However, at this moment, the horn floating above Lin Dongqing's head suddenly transmitted a message to him. It indicated that it had recovered and could attack at any time. "Good. Very good, we'll immediately look for an opportunity. I didn't expect this night demon to have such strength. If we let him continue to develop, the consequences would be unimaginable. Today, we must kill him." Lin Dongqing heard the voice transmission from the horn and said word by word. Chapter 32-48. Don't worry. No matter how strong the divine artifact is, he's still a child with a treasured sword. It's easy to catch his weakness. The horn's artifact spirit replied to Lin Dongqing and began to search for Night Sorrow's weakness. Lin Dongqing, on the other hand, burned his bloodline power and consumed a pill that temporarily increased his strength and speed. He began to fight against Night Sorrow. During the battle, he realized that although Night Sorrow was only a half-step Sky Supreme, he was not weaker than him in any aspect. This made him question the one-horned child's words. "Be careful. That horn seems to have recovered." After Night Sorrow killed another one of Lin Dongqing's subordinates, the restriction-breaking hammer suddenly reminded him. They could feel that the horn had recovered and was preparing to attack. "I know. After a while, I'll purposely reveal a weakness and let the horn attack. Then use the ancient coffin to block it. As for the Eternal Divine Tower, it will directly attack Lin Dongqing and kill him." Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to the restriction-breaking hammer and asked, "Little 5, how much longer do you need?" 5 breaths. Little 5 answered without hesitation. The answer was very precise. "Okay. I'll reveal a weakness in 5 breaths and let the horn attack. You guys calculate the time." Night Sorrow said and continued to fight against Lin Dongqing. With the help of the Dragon Sparrow Divine Talisman, his speed was extremely fast. Lin Dongqing could barely keep up. At this time, Night Sorrow sent a dozen more talisman combinations to slow down Lin Dongqing's speed. For a moment, Lin Dongqing's movements became abnormally slow. In this state, Night Sorrow naturally had no problem dragging on for 5 breaths. Once the 5 breaths were up, Night Sorrow immediately used the Divine Essence Trap Array and the Divine Spear on Lin Dongqing. He had exposed himself to the horn. Good chance. I'm going to attack. Seeing that Night Sorrow had completely exposed himself to him, the horn's artifact spirit transmitted his voice to Lin Dongqing and directly attacked Night Sorrow. You're going to die. Looks like our battle can't be carried out normally. Meanwhile, Lin Dongqing was looking at Xiaofan with a grim smile on his face. In his eyes, Night Sorrow was already a dead man. You're half right. One of us is going to die, so the battle can't proceed as planned. Looking at the wildly laughing Lin Dongqing, Night Sorrow immediately took out the ancient coffin to block Du Jiao's attack. As for the Eternal Divine Tower, it launched a vicious attack at Lin Dongqing at close range. This attack was a genuine attack from someone who was half a step to the limitless realm. Lin Dongqing, who did not have a half-step supreme stage defensive divine artifact, was immediately reduced to ashes. Even the horn that was blocked by the ancient coffin once again was blasted to smithereens. It was as if he was about to drop out of the half-step supreme realm. Amazing. I didn't expect you to be able to kill Lin Dongqing and the others. Dancing Lady, who was watching the battle in Night Sorrow's space, immediately praised when she saw that Night Sorrow had completed his counterattack. Today's victory was due to luck. If not for our good luck in obtaining the 6th level of the Eternal Divine Tower, we would have been forced to flee. Night Sorrow said humbly, then continued, now that we have 2 Sovereign Heaven Origin pills, why don't we find a place to consume them first and then come out to fight for them? This way, we have a better chance. What do you think? Hearing this, Su Lei, who was recovering, said, I'm still recovering. You and Dancing Lady should consume them first. If you can become a heavenly sovereign here, I believe you can definitely defeat everyone. In my opinion, it won't be as easy for you to become a heavenly sovereign. 1 Sovereign Heaven Origin pill is definitely not enough. You should consume both of them. Whirling Woman said slowly. In her opinion, a half-step heavenly sovereign like Night Sorrow could fight against an upper heavenly sovereign. If he wanted to advance, it would definitely be many times more difficult than ordinary cultivators. 1 Sovereign Heaven Origin pill was definitely not enough. I'll try consuming one first. After Dancing Lady finished speaking, Night Sorrow found a quiet place and set up a concealment array. He then summoned Dancing Lady to be on guard. He then took out 1 Sovereign Heaven Origin pill and consumed it. How do you feel? Is there no effect at all? After Night Sorrow consumed the Sovereign Heaven Origin pill, he did not have any reaction after about 10 breaths. Dancing Lady asked doubtfully. It's effective. But according to my judgment, if I want to become a heavenly sovereign directly, I need at least 10 of these Sovereign Heaven Origin pills. Night Sorrow said, then took out another Sovereign Heaven Origin pill and handed it to Dancing Lady. He said, you should consume this one first. This is our best choice. Alright. Your body is really a bottomless pit. But it's okay, we'll continue to search in the ancient ruins. Dancing Lady was not a conflicted person. She took the Sovereign Heaven Origin pill and consumed it immediately. Not long after, her aura began to grow rapidly. Finally, she successfully became an upper heavenly sovereign. After successfully passing the tribulation, Dancing Lady looked at Night Sorrow and said, although I have become an upper heavenly sovereign, there is a limit to my strength. I still need time to strengthen. You have reached the realm. You can slowly polish it or absorb resources to improve it. Night Sorrow used the Sea Serpent's Eye to observe Dancing Lady, then said, no matter what, you are already 1 step ahead of most people. The level of upper heavenly sovereign is not something that ordinary people can reach. Yes. Above upper heavenly sovereign, there are only half-step to supreme realm and supreme realm. You are already an expert among experts. Su Lei congratulated Lady Hassa. Now that she was only a lower heavenly sovereign, she was very envious of Dancing Lady. Thank you for taking care of me. In the future, we will continue to work together and break through to half-step to Supreme Realm and Supreme Realm together. Dancing Lady said in a good mood. After becoming an upper heavenly sovereign, there were not many cultivators in the world who were higher than her. No matter what, she was very happy. Alright. Let's break through to the realm you mentioned. Night Sorrow looked at Dancing Lady and found that she did not have the aptitude to break through to Supreme Realm, but he did not say anything to undermine her confidence. Then, he said to Su Lei, the next Sovereign Heaven Origin pill that we find will be given to you. You can consume it directly, or like Dancing Lady, you can consume it after you become a Middle Heavenly Sovereign. I did not do anything. I am not qualified to get the Sovereign Heaven Origin pill so early. If you get it, you can consume it. When you have successfully advanced, it will not be too late for me to take it. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Su Lei shook her head and objected. Alright. Let's talk about it after we get it. Night Sorrow saw Su Lei's objection and did not say anything more. Then, he brought the two ladies into the Eternal Divine Tower to recover. When they had almost recovered, Little Five suddenly sent a message to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow. Can you give us the horn? Oh. What do you need the horn for? Night Sorrow asked curiously. Chapter 32:49. Encountering Jia Lin, yes. The horn is very useful to us. After Xiaowu answered, he explained, although we have recovered to the level of a half-step to the Supreme Realm Divine Artifact, if we want to continuously attack at the level of a half-step to the Supreme Realm, we need a lot of resources. If we have this horn, we can attack many times at the level of a half-step to the Supreme Realm in the future. I see. Then take it out. When Night Sorrow heard Xiaowu's words, he did not hesitate and threw the horn out for them to absorb. Don't you think it's a pity that a half-step to the Supreme Realm Divine Artifact is being absorbed like a resource? Seeing Yi Shang throw the horn away, Dancing Woman felt that it was a waste of God's gift. Sacrificing a horn is equivalent to gaining the protection of a half-step to the Supreme Realm Expert. In this way, we will have the ability to survive in the ancient ruins. It's quite suitable. Night Sorrow analyzed, then said, however, if I get another half-step to the Supreme Realm Divine Artifact in the future, I will leave it to you and Su Lei. That's not what I meant. Every half-step to the Supreme Realm Divine Artifact is extremely precious. I can't take it. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Dancing Lady was a little embarrassed. It's okay. We are friends and have good things to share. Night Sorrow said indifferently. He really did not care much about divine artifacts. At this time, Su Lei asked, now that we have recovered, should we go out? It's good to go out now. However, on the list provided by Elder Su, there are 3 people worth paying attention to. I think the 3 of them are probably from the middle of the courtyard. Their methods should be very powerful, so we have to be careful. After leaving the Eternal Divine Tower, Night Sorrow looked at the list provided by Elder Su again. He found that the 3 of them were probably from the middle of the courtyard that Dancing Lady had mentioned. He felt that he should pay special attention to them. He reminded the 2 of them to be careful, but he was still very interested in them. After all, the 3 of them could be suitable targets for possession. Fairy Lin, Meng He, Zhu Qingxian. These 3 are all upper heavenly sovereigns and have never lost in a battle of the same level. They are probably from the middle of the courtyard. If we encounter them, we have to be careful. Dancing Woman took the list from Elder Su and said in agreement after reading it. Even Lin Dongqing was able to take out a half-step to the Supreme Realm Divine Artifact. Who knew what the geniuses of the central courtyard would be able to take out? The 3 of them had to be on guard. Why is there a sea in front of us? As soon as Dancing Woman finished speaking, Su Lei pointed to the front in confusion. Following her finger, Night Sorrow looked with the sea serpent's eye and saw a boundless sea. What's going on? We didn't see any ocean just now. Night Sorrow said doubtfully. Whirling Woman frowned and said, are we in an illusion again? That should be the case. It seems like there are illusions in the ancient ruins too. Su Lei said with a frown. She felt that the ocean in front of her made her very uncomfortable, and her expression immediately became very bad. Su Lei, are you alright? Night Sorrow turned his head to look at Su Lei. Seeing that her complexion was very pale, he asked with concern. I don't know either. I can't seem to stand steadily in front of this ocean. It's like he's being suppressed by something. Su Lei said in detail. At this moment, Night Sorrow looked at Whirling Woman and said, Whirling Woman, do you have that feeling? No, I don't. Whirling Woman shook her head and denied it. While she used her eye technique to look at the ocean, she did not see anything. There's a huge black shadow in the ocean. It must have come with ill intentions. Everyone, be careful. Night Sorrow, who had opened the sea serpent's eye and looked at the ocean, found a huge black shadow in the ocean. It seemed to have scales, and its body was very long. It looked a little like a dragon, but it was not. You can actually see me. Your eye technique is not bad. Your eyes are mine now. As soon as Night Sorrow finished speaking, a huge wave rose in the ocean. On top of the wave stood a slim female cultivator. How arrogant! After the female cultivator finished speaking, Whirling Woman ridiculed her. However, she soon discovered that the other party was an upper heavenly supreme, and her aura was very powerful. At this moment, Night Sorrow put Su Lei, who was feeling even more uncomfortable, into the space cave. Then, he looked at the female cultivator in front of him and said, You are the black shadow in the ocean, right? I told you, your eye technique is very powerful. Hearing this, the black-robed female cultivator smiled and said, Dig out your eyeballs and give them to me, and I will let you live. How arrogant! Before Night Sorrow could speak, Whirling Woman sneered and said, Come on. Let's see if you can get the eyeballs, or we can get the leather belt. You dare to provoke me, Jia Lin, repeatedly. Do you think you are so great just because you are an upper heavenly supreme? Jia Lin, who had been scolded by Whirling Woman, looked at her coldly and waved his hand to hit her. You are stronger than me, but you are not qualified to defeat me with one hit. Originally, Yi Shang had wanted to help, but Lady Whirling Sua had used the secret art of the vertical eye. She really caught it. I didn't expect a native like you to have some talent. After being blocked by Whirling Woman, Jia Lin said expressionlessly before smiling and saying, That vertical eye of yours is not bad either, it's also mine. With your eyeballs, this trip to the ancient site. Don't talk nonsense, you can talk about it after you defeat us. If I am not wrong, you are the fairy Lin that others have been talking about, right? Night Sorrow looked at Jia Lin, and as he spoke, he started to use the Trestrimsa battle technique and the art of destruction. He also held the golden heavenly halberd in his hand and prepared for battle. At this moment, Su Lei, who was in the space paradise, reminded him, Jia Lin is the same as you Jia, they are both legendary existences. Although she is not a pure-blood Jia Lin, her bloodline talent is much stronger than mine. She should be very strong, you have to be careful. Okay. I will be careful. Night Sorrow replied as he continued to look at Jia Lin, waiting for her to make the first move. At this moment, Jia Lin laughed and said, Fairy Lin? I don't like that name, I prefer to be called the Scaled Witch. Soon, you will know why. As soon as she finished speaking, she shot out thousands of black scales at Night Sorrow and Whirling Woman. Every scale shone with powerful runes. When she got close to Night Sorrow and Whirling Woman, these scales would shoot out extremely powerful attacks. In an instant, Night Sorrow and Whirling Woman were having a hard time resisting. As expected of someone from the middle court, you are indeed very strong. Jia Lin's attack was between an upper heavenly supreme and a half-step to the extreme realm. It was very strong, Night Sorrow could resist it, but Whirling Woman was having a hard time. Yi Shang exclaimed in admiration. Then, he put Dancing Woman into his space grotto heaven and fought Jia Lin alone. Chapter 3250. I didn't expect that even though I've become an upper heavenly supreme, I still can't hold my own in Lu Tian Academy. Dancing Lady, who had been summoned into the space cave, looked at Su Lei and said unwillingly. Hearing this, Su Lei comforted her. Don't worry. You've just become an upper heavenly supreme, so you're naturally weaker than Jia Lin. Slowly accumulate, and you may not lose to him in the future. Look, I'm suppressed by his bloodline, but I don't feel despair. If I follow Night Sorrow, I may be able to catch up. But this makes me very uneasy. I don't know what to do. Dancing Lady sighed. She wasn't willing to submit, but her future would be limited if she relied on herself. At this moment, Su Lei persuaded her. Your ability is limited. It may not be a bad choice to rely on the strong. I've already chosen to submit to him. I hope you can also consider it. Let me think about it. Dancing Lady replied, then watched the battle between Night Sorrow and Jia Lin. At this moment, Night Sorrow was slightly at a disadvantage in his battle with Jia Lin. But his defense was impenetrable, and he wasn't injured. After fighting for a few breaths, Jia Lin said with interest, I thought you were only an Earth Supreme, but I didn't expect you to be so strong as well. You're really a talent. How about this, I'll give you a chance to submit. As long as you submit to me and cooperate with me in exploring the ancient ruins, I won't gouge out your eyes. Sorry. I'm used to being idle, and I'm not under much control. But there's a solution to this. Night Sorrow looked at Jia Lin, who was panting, and smiled. Why don't you submit to me, and I'll naturally bring you to explore the ancient ruins and find opportunities. Bastard. I'm giving you face, but you don't want it. Who do you think you are? How dare you talk to me like this? Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Jia Lin was immediately furious. Then who do you think you are? Talking to me like this? Night Sorrow replied coldly. I'm someone who can kill you. Jia Lin, who was already enraged, roared and once again used his scales to attack Yi Sorrow. This time, after the scales flew out, they all turned into beetles and scaled insects. Tens of thousands of beetles and scaled worms appeared and immediately attacked Night Sorrow. This must be Jia Lin's bloodline ability. Night Sorrow frowned when he saw the thousands of beetles and scaled insects charging at him. He then cast the secret word of truth to slow them down. At the same time, he shot out his Inferno Devil Subduing Spear and used the flames in the sky to burn everything. When the flames in the sky had some effect, he used Soft Dragon Roar, bombarding the beetles and scaled insects in the sky. After suffering 2 consecutive attacks, almost half of the beetles and scaled insects that Jia Lin had summoned had died. However, the remaining ones became even crazier under Jia Lin's control. Although Night Sorrow did not have a hard time dealing with the beetles and scaled worms that filled the sky and attacked him, his god's domain was not damaged. But soon, he discovered that Jia Lin had summoned another batch of beetles and scaled insects. So it can continue to summon. No wonder it couldn't stop my attack just now. Night Sorrow immediately understood what was going on when he noticed that Jia Lin had once again summoned a large number of beetles and scaled insects. He attacked these things again. After killing 3 or 4 batches, Night Sorrow discovered that Jia Lin's presence had not decreased at all. He completely understood that Jia Lin's bloodline ability could summon these things endlessly to exhaust the opponent. He immediately sent a message to Little Five. Little Five, after absorbing the power of the horn, did you manage to form a half-step Paramount Realm attack? According to Night Sorrow's judgment, Jia Lin clearly still had energy left. It would be very difficult to kill him. Yes. But the energy absorbed is only enough for 1 attack. According to my judgment, Jia Lin should also have a half-step Paramount Realm Divine Artifact. 1 attack might not be able to kill him. Little Five quickly reported to Night Sorrow. I know. She must have something to rely on for her to be so arrogant. But since the battle has started, we cannot be the ones to retreat. Even if we can't kill her in one attack, we must injure her severely. Night Sorrow said, and then said murderously, "Get ready, we will teach her a lesson she will remember. Don't worry, we can use this attack at any time." As Little Five replied, she was already prepared to attack. "Very good. When I create the Divine Essence Trap Array, I will summon you. Once you are summoned, attack immediately." At this moment, Night Sorrow, who was still killing beetles and scale bugs, used the Sea Serpent's Eye to observe Jia Lin's movements and lock onto his true body. Then, he suddenly created the Divine Essence Trap Array. After the Eternal Divine Tower was summoned, it immediately attacked the trapped Jia Lin with a half-step Paramount Realm attack. The attack contained a heaven-shaking, earth-shattering power. What? It's an attack from a half-step Paramount Realm Divine Artifact. Jia Lin, who was originally full of confidence and using beetles and scale bugs to devour Night Sorrow, was shocked. In a situation where she could not dodge, she immediately took out her half-step Paramount Realm Divine Artifact, the Heaven-Suppressing Lock. She used it to block the Eternal Divine Tower's attack. Although the Heaven-Suppressing Lock was a half-step Paramount Realm Divine Artifact, in a hurry, it naturally did not have the ability to block the Eternal Divine Tower's full attack. Jia Lin was directly sent flying. The beetles and scaled insects that Jia Lin had summoned all vanished into thin air. Oh! Hit by a half-step Paramount Realm attack and not seriously injured. This strength is indeed not to be underestimated. Night Sorrow, who was observing the other party with the Sea Serpent's Eye, discovered that Jia Lin was completely unharmed after being hit and was stunned. From this attack, he determined that this Jia Lin's strength was already infinitely close to half-step Paramount Realm and was not easy to deal with. Bastard! How dare you use a half-step Paramount Realm Divine Artifact to attack me? Do you think that only you have a half-step Paramount Realm Divine Artifact? After being blasted far away, Jia Lin, who was once again suspended in the void, her expression became completely gloomy. Her previous ease was gone, replaced by thick killing intent. She sized up Night Sorrow and did not say anything. She directly summoned the slightly damaged Heaven-Suppressing Lock and smashed it at Night Sorrow. She probably doesn't know how to use the divine artifact in front of her. In other words, she did not completely make it recognize her as its master, and we have a chance to snatch it. Seeing that Jia Lin actually smashed the Heaven-Suppressing Lock over, Little Seven immediately spoke. Oh! This half-step Paramount Realm Divine Artifact can be snatched by force? Facing the Heaven-Suppressing Lock, Night Sorrow did not panic. As he asked, he took out the Ancient Coffin from the space. He used the Ancient Coffin to block this attack. Because if he used the Eternal Divine Tower to block this attack, the Eternal Divine Tower would definitely be damaged. And ever since the Ancient Coffin appeared, it had never broken through its defenses. Using a broken coffin to block my Heaven-Suppressing Lock. You're dead meat. Jia Lin, who saw Night Sorrow summon the Ancient Coffin, had a look of disdain.